Voorhees Township Board of Education uses the rolling agenda concept. Items that are listed for a vote on the board agenda are sent to the Board of Education members weekly as information items. Each member has the ability to request topics to be discussed in meetings as needed. Due to the attendance limitations required by COVID-19 regulations, the public may not attend the meeting in person and is invited to view the meeting remotely. A link is provided on the district's website. Public notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Public notice of this meeting has been given by the board secretary in the following manner. Posting written notice on the official bulletin board of the Voorhees Township Public Schools Administration Building on August 8th. Sending written notice to the Courier Post on August 8th. Filing written notice with the clerk of Voorhees Township on August 8th. Could we please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Galliano?
Here.
Dr. Levy?
Here.
Mr. Nelson?
Here.
Mr. Schmooze?
Here.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Here.
Mrs. Watson?
Here.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mrs. Wallace?
here. Could we have a motion to approve the minutes of July 13th, 27th, July 30th, and August 13th?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes to numbers 1, 2, and 3, and abstain from number 4.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmooze?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. Under information items, under attachment A, it explains our fire drills and safety drills. There are no communications. Board secretary report.
Yes, thank you. This summer, the maintenance department was very, very busy with the various summer projects, but in addition, getting school ready for opening. I'd just like to go over some of the projects that they did. At each school, there's not a duplication of some of the tasks. I'll start with E.T. Hamilton maintenance. They replaced 91 ceiling tiles. So in each school, in each building, they replace old ceiling tiles that are no longer functional or stained. Classrooms emptied, floors stripped and waxed, and carpets extracted. Custodians detailed all classrooms and shampooed carpets. They applied certified playground mulch as needed. Renovation to the media center, that's one of our construction projects that we have at E.T. Hamilton. Voicemail adjustments were made by our company RFP that we use. LED lighting was upgraded. New playground equipment was installed at E.T. Hamilton. Trees were pruned, shaped, and thinned. Carpet inserts in hallways. Every 6 feet, there's a carpet marker that's been put in to show this safe distancing. And glass barriers for all secretarial staff. There was painting done at each building, and then there were inspections done at each building. The inspections included playground, fire alarms, fire sprinklers, generators, kitchen suppression system, flagpole, indoor air quality testing, emergency notification system, and panic alarms. In addition, we also had an outside company come in and do cleaning of HVAC units. So that was done in many rooms and libraries, gyms, nurse's office. In addition to that, we had LED UV air purification systems installed in the interior classrooms that don't have any windows. Some of the schools, it's already been completed, and some of them are in progress. So that's being done, that's already completed at E.T. Hamilton. In addition to that, an ionizer UV for rooftop HVAC units has also been installed or is in the process of being installed once we receive it. For Crescent, the same type of thing, installed hard surface flooring in 4 classrooms. Over time, we're removing the carpeting from each of the classrooms and substituting in hard surface flooring. Again, replacing ceiling tiles, same type of thing. Installing touchless faucets and toilet flush items, I guess you call them. Touchless, yeah. Apply certified playground, one of the same things. Same inspections. HVAC unit cleaning, air purification installation for the interior classrooms, ionizer for the rooftop. So rather than read it for each class, each building, the same thing was done at each building. So as I flip through, each board member received an email of this report, but also has a hard copy at their seat tonight. And in addition, at the back of it, there's a list of all of the COVID-related items that have been purchased. So I'm just going to read off some of them so the public knows as well. Kids disposable face covering, 5,000 quantity, 1,000 per school. Adult disposable face coverings, 5,000, 100 per school. Disposable isolation gowns, level 2, 500, 100 per school. Washable, reusable face coverings, non-vented, 1,000 equals 2 per staff member. Adult face shield, 750, which is 1 per staff member. Child size face shields, 200 as needed. Desk shields, 1,500. Desk guard KCER, 100. Those are still on order, but because we have 1,500 desk shields, we're able to use them in KCER after cleaning them off if the 100 don't arrive in time. Hand sanitizers, desktop pump bottles, 600, which is 1 per staff member. Disinfectant wipes, 600, 1 per staff member. Hand sanitizer stands, hands-free with pedal, 50. Automatic soap dispensers, 90. VP cordless electrostatic backpack sprayers, 7. The chemical for that, 75 5-gallon containers. Gallon hand sanitizer, 40. Touchless sanitizer dispensers, 12. Floor stands for battery dispensers, 12. Hand soap, 25 cases. Tempered glass pass-through sneeze guard, 10. Tempered glass pass-through sneeze guard, larger size, 66 inches, 4. COVID-related signage throughout the district, 90. Sanitize here, wall signs, 12. Social distance, wall and floor signs, 12. UVC lighting equipment. We've talked a lot about our UVC lighting equipment. That has been somewhat backordered because supplies are hard to come by anymore. So they're supplying us with 20 extra mobile UV lighting units in addition to the ones that we were already getting. So we will be using them without having to rent them until the units are installed. So anytime something has not arrived, we have a backup plan. Ionizer UV for rooftop HVAC units. I had mentioned that in each school, besides putting the ionizers in the vents, we're also doing some rooftop units. LED, UV, and duct air purification, as I was saying, there's 69, and the install is still going.
The only school that is still remaining is Signal Hill. From what I know.
Okay.
It's the
Okay.
final one to be done.
Okay. Microfiber cleaning cloths. Somebody was asking, like, what's the best way to clean the clear touch panels? And Clark had consulted with some of our technology staff and came up with a protocol for cleaning them. And so we ordered 900 microfiber cleaning cloths. We've also ordered touchless faucets, one for each student restroom, touchless flushometers, 1 for each student urinal, touchless, again, flushometers for each student toilet, touchless soap dispensers, 1 for each student restroom. No touch. Oh, the other thing is we have a scanner that we had ordered that we at each doorway to scan for temperature. That's also back ordered, and it's the same system that Eastern is using. So instead, so that we have something, we've ordered 22 no-touch forehead thermometers that'll be distributed by the principal, so that way temperatures can be taken. In addition to sending this to the board, we also sent some spreadsheets of the items that I mentioned, indicating that they've been received, or that, how many have been received, how many we're waiting for, and the expected delivery date. But for the most part, all these items are here, and if not, we do have a backup plan, as I had mentioned. And I want to thank Clark and his staff, because they really have been working extremely hard. In addition to the construction project that I mentioned at A.T. Hamilton, the Media Center, we also have the guidance suite renovation being done at the middle school. And HVAC units are being changed over in the theater. That was in our budget. So we have that project going on too. It's been a very, very busy summer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clark.
Superintendent report.
Okay, at this time, I'm just going to draw your attention to the 4 items that are on my report.
and ask that they be, added to the record, the 2019-2020 annual report. Number two, we're going to have a change for November 3rd. At this time, Election Day will be a full remote day for everyone. Item three, the district's annual special education plan, 2019-2020 school year. I'll ask Dr. Hill if she has any comments on that at this time.
I have a.
Okay, yeah, we'll let you go ahead.
Provide that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, everyone. This annual report to the board includes a summary of the programs and services to students with disabilities and the district status related to the state performance plan indicators monitoring special education. Our special services department is responsible for the identification and evaluation of potentially disabled children, the provision of the services to those children, and the coordination of home instruction for those confined at home. Over the last 10 years, we have maintained about the same level of staffing, with the exception of additional support of instructional associates and registered behavior therapists. These support staff members have enabled us to exceed the state performance standards established by the state with regard to the inclusion of students with disabilities in general education classrooms. Our total enrollment of students eligible for special ed remains relatively stable at 12.9%. Currently, we have 386 students. We have 126 students in addition eligible for speech only, which is about 4%. The number of students referred to the team this year has decreased. We only had 103 referrals. I think last year we had 147. This is probably partially due to COVID-19, because in the springtime we tend to get a lot of referrals. Of that 103 that have been referred, only 60 were deemed eligible for services. Homebound instruction was provided to 12 students, which is also less than we typically have. 41% were out of school due to mental health or behavioral issues. Most were middle school students. The State Department monitors each district for compliance with IDEA using 13 state performance plan indicators, some of which do not apply to our school because we do not have a high school. Examples include graduation rates, dropout rates, and suspensions, things of that sort. Of those that do apply, those related to child find, 100% of all of our children who were in early intervention were evaluated and placed in a program by their 3rd birthday. 98% of the students referred for an evaluation were placed in a program within the 90-day timeline established by the state. With regard to inclusion, we exceeded the state targets for the inclusion of school-age students with disabilities in general education classes. That percentage was 56. The state target was 49. We also exceeded the target for including preschoolers in inclusive settings for the majority of the day. Our rate was 50%, the state expected only 45, so we exceeded in those two areas. And I'm really happy about the preschoolers because this is an area that we've been working on for quite a while. The areas in need of improvement related to those state performance plan indicators have to do with the New Jersey state assessment. Our participation rate was 94.6 for language arts and 94% for math. The state target was 97, so we didn't quite make it. Unfortunately, the district did not meet state standards for proficiency in literacy or math for grades 3 to 8. The test is very difficult, and our students who have disabilities have a hard time reading, and much of the state assessment, even for math, has a lot of reading involved in it. Overall, there's a tendency for the percentage meeting the criteria decreases with each succeeding grade. Unfortunately, that's a typical reality for special education. I'm happy to report that again this year we had no filings for due process, mediation, or complaint investigations. The federal government supplements district funds for students with disabilities through an IDEA grant. Last year we got $722,088 that was spent for tuition for students placed in out-of-district placements. Of that amount of money, $36,000 was for non-public schools to provide tutoring and speech therapy and OT for students at Kelvin Brown and Bethel. The preschool grant gave us $36,371, which offset the salary of one instructional associate Of that amount, 1,137 went to a non-public student for speech therapy. In closing, on behalf of the children with disabilities, we thank the board for so readily providing the services that enhance the quality of the instruction here in Voorhees. Such things that were provided were the additional registered behavior therapists who are trained in applied behavior analysis. They really help out our teachers meet the needs of the more severely disabled children. We also have the provision of community-based instruction, which not many districts provide. We also have augmentative communication technologies to enhance communication for the little guys. Also, thank you for the summer enrichment program. It was a bonus. It really helped us to get children to regain some of those skills that were lost due to going out on COVID in the spring. Our focus for 2021 will be on the achievement of students with disabilities. They've been away from the academics for quite some time, so we're really going to hone in on that, and also the social emotional well-being of the children as they re-enter in light of COVID.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hill.
You're welcome.
And then I'd just like to highlight that we had a 2020 BMS graduate, and they were able to sing at the Democratic National Convention as the New Jersey representative, so I think that's amazing, and did a great job. That concludes my report at this time.
Thank you.
For the committee report, the policy committee met today. Ms. Galliano, if you could summarize that.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. The policy committee met this evening before this meeting. We discussed changes to two of the first readings and one of the second readings, and we will be voting on those in the meetings.
Okay, at this time, we have audience participation. While the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege, the board will now address any questions and or comments from the public relating to items on the agenda for the board meeting. Please note that the comments are limited to 3 minutes, and this will not be a question and answer session. Do you have it? Please put in the comment section your name and address, and you will be called upon.
Tricia Chadwick. Okay. Shira Goldstein.
Thank you. Good evening. I am a Voorhees resident, so I'm speaking as a resident as well as a parent of young children in our town, and I am concerned about the safety in our schools for not only the children but the staff. I believe that the HVAC systems require a lot to be able to adequately filter what is going on in the environment right now, and I believe that opening schools for in-person learning is not yet safe. I urge you to think about the safety and health of the students in this town as well as that of the staff, as many districts have decided that even if their students, they have the staff come in, if the building is not safe for one, it's not safe for another. I really believe that it's the board's responsibility to ensure the safety of all that enter. If you look at other states that have opened their schools, we should be learning from their mistakes. It is not yet safe. Thousands and thousands of children are becoming ill. Teachers have died. And it's just not what we should be doing with our school system and with our school communities. So I urge you as the board to take into consideration the health and safety of the students, as well as all of the wonderful staff, the teachers, the paras, and administration in Voorhees, and keep them safe by having them be remote until you can guarantee their safety returning to your buildings. Thank you.
Dana Carson.
Hi, my name is Dana Carson at 1308 Pine Avenue in Voorhees. I'm a parent. I'm also a teacher, and I have prepared a statement. I want to start off by first saying that I want to thank the Board of Education, the administrators, the teachers, and the support staff I know how hard they've been working this summer on plans to make this upcoming school year a success for all students. I also want to commend the teachers on how hard they worked in the spring. I know for a fact that many teachers worked harder than normal during remote instruction, rewriting curriculum, recording videos, gathering online content, among many other tasks. They worked hours longer than their contracted times to ensure the students learned something. They were doing all this and planning for this upcoming school year, all without extra pay or overtime. It was crisis management, and I salute the teachers on a job well done. As for this coming September, I think Voorhees schools should be fully remote. We all want things to go back to normal, but school in September is not going to be normal. The lack of socialization, only 2 days of live instruction, social distancing, masks, and 3 days of remote learning are not normal. But the situation with COVID-19 is not normal either. We are lucky it hasn't been as bad in South Jersey as it has been in other parts of the state, but it's still here. And every day there are reports of the damaging long-term effects by this virus. These long-term effects need to be brought into consideration when voting on hybrid or fully remote. Now, I do think that the hybrid plan is a good plan, but it doesn't look at enough of the variables for a safe return. One of the variables is if kids in different classrooms test positive for COVID-19. If that happens, when the school will have to be shut down at a moment's notice, per the governor's new guidelines. Having to pivot from remote to hybrid is unsustainable and cannot be in the best interest of a continuous education. Another variable is that kids are going to be sent in sick. It happens during flu season, it'll happen during coronavirus. And who will be in charge of sending the kids to the nurse when they start showing signs of sickness? Teachers. Kids will also be taking off their masks. They'll be touching their masks and then their eyes, then the doorknobs. And who will be in charge of wiping all surfaces and ensure that the kids wash their hands? Teachers. Fights in the middle school will still happen. Grown adults are fighting in grocery stores because tempers are high. Imagine the stress the students are feeling. When students fight, masks will be torn off, and who has to step in? Teachers. There's also a shortage of substitute teachers. When a teacher is home sick and their class needs to be covered, who will step in, miss a prep, or take on more students? Teachers. Teachers also need to make sure our kids get socialization and live instruction while virtually teaching. Make sure the kids are behaving. Take care of students who have medical issues like diabetes and asthma. Wipe all surfaces. Make sure kids are keeping their masks on. Make sure the kids are using hand sanitizer, worrying about what they are going to clean with when supplies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gabe Robeo.
Hey everyone, I'm Gabe Rubayo. I live at 304 Alpha Avenue in Voorhees. Some of you might recognize me because I recognize a lot of people here. Anyway, I just wanted to provide my opinion on the reopening plan for Voorhees schools after having been to the last meeting on, I think it was the 13th of August. All I see with this plan is a rush to get kids back in school with little regard for what must always come first, the health and safety of all students and staff in your schools. My father teaches elementary school students in Evesham Township, and during the pandemic, I saw him work harder than ever before because he and all of our hardworking teachers have been trying to make the remote learning process as easy as they could for their students. My dad loves teaching, and his first priority is always his students' well-being, and yet there are some people who call teachers lazy for simply wanting to continue teaching in the safest way possible. To those people, I say, how dare you? How dare you so publicly attack these people who make such a difference in students' lives? The people who just want to ensure the safety of your children. Also, I've heard some people say they want their tax money back because of the remote learning situation and how it's not like we would normally continue school. Even though Voorhees still has the amazing educators it is renowned for, and the same schools for which my family moved here 12 years ago. As for the esteemed board members, some of you were never teachers. For those of you who were, I hope you sympathize with my words, and for those who weren't, how could you understand the struggle of our teachers today? With in-person learning, you wouldn't be the ones standing in classrooms trying so hard to maintain strict protocols to avert the spread of COVID. The teachers would be doing that. So it's easy for you to say that a hybrid model would work, but the teachers wouldn't agree. They've suffered enough. and we can't add to their troubles the possibility that one of the students that they care about so much could catch COVID. Hundreds of lives are in danger with these hybrid learning protocols that can't always be exactly and precisely adhered to. In high school, in driver's ed, we learned about parking distances for different objects. When you parallel park, do you take out a ruler and make sure you're parked at least 6 inches away from the curb? Nope. So how do you expect middle schoolers to always stay exactly 6 feet apart while they're walking through the hallway? In this situation, the teachers that we have heard from are all speaking factually and intelligently, and in the last board meeting too. So it's time we start listening to them for once. But then again, I'm just 16. What do I know, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Tammy Wilhelm.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my comments. There is a permanent exhibit at the Franklin Institute called Your Brain. For the past 7 years, I have done a beginning of the year activity with my students to prove that multitasking is ineffective. How can I reasonably accomplish the following within 30 minutes and do it productively? I have to walk into 5 different classrooms, and in each classroom, I do the following. I sanitize the desk for my own safety. I sanitize and log into the 2 separate computers that I will be using. I need to take attendance of all the students that are in the classroom and those students attending remotely. Then I have to document that attendance in Genesis, whether they are in class or remote. I need to social distance from the students in the class with me. I need to make sure that all students stay 6 feet apart and they are each wearing their masks. I need to answer questions from the students who are in my classroom, and then I have to answer the questions of those who are participating remotely. All that and teach a live, engaging lesson, and then gather all my materials and head to my next class. Again, I do that all in 30 minutes. Thank you, and I appreciate your consideration as you make a very difficult decision tonight. Thank you.
Christine Blizzard Warble.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Christine Blizzard Robel. I live at 519 Balsam Road in Cherry Hill, and I am the STEM teacher at Voorhees Middle. I have spent my summer preparing for school this fall with close to 20 hours of Google training, Apple training, hybrid classroom training, virtual meetings with our administration, and as a member of one of the reopening subcommittees. Not only do I not feel safe returning to my windowless classroom, I do not feel prepared to begin teaching in September, either virtually or in a hybrid setting. There has been a lot of discussion over whether it is safe to reopen the buildings. However, one thing that seems to be forgotten is that every child will be remote learning for at least 3 days each week. I have taken it upon myself to get every hour of training I possibly could over the summer, and I still do not feel prepared. The parents of our students have been assured that all teachers will be fully trained to teach this in this hybrid setting. When I received the schedule for the 2 days of in-service we will have prior to students returning, I was shocked to learn that we are only being offered 1 hour of training, and that hour of training is on our new Clear Touch boards. These boards are not the solution to our problems. Simply live streaming my classroom to the students at home will not be effective because I do not stand in the front of my room and lecture. None of my colleagues stand and lecture for the entire class period. So what will live streaming our classrooms do for these students at home? Where is our training on best practices for hybrid teaching? Where is the training on strategies for student collaboration while remote learning? I surely did not learn any of that in my college or graduate school courses. How can you, our board members, or the parents of our students expect our hybrid and remote learning to be more effective than this past spring when all of our teachers have not been properly trained? We need quality training for all faculty on how to teach effectively in this hybrid model before we can even think about allowing our children back into the building. 2 days of in-service with only 1 hour of training is simply not enough. If our children are not going to get a quality education from in-person learning because of this lack of training, then why are we risking our health and the health of our students and families to return to the building? I urge you to delay the start of hybrid instruction so we can devote time to understanding how to build quality instruction in this unprecedented time. Thank you.
Ashley Gumto.
Hi, my name is Ashley Gumto, 414 Whitman Drive, Haddonfield. I also teach along with Chrissy. I'm a related arts STEM class at Voorhees Middle. From our understanding, students at the middle school will be rotating into the related arts classroom, unlike with the general education students or classes where the teachers will be rotating to them. So I have a specific question about the sanitizing and expectations between each of the 5 classes that will be coming into our room each day. So at the middle school, we only have 3 minutes of transition time between the classes. My question is, will the related arts teachers be expected to disinfect between each class ourselves, or are we expected to end class a little bit early to give the students themselves time to just disinfect their own areas and materials? Additionally, what cleaners will be provided for this? Are the students able to handle those cleaners? And will there be enough provided for daily disinfecting 5 times a day? We are very concerned about the number of students that will be sharing the same spaces in our room every day, and hope there is a cleaning plan in place for these transitioning classes. Thank you so much for your time.
Lauren Kern.
Hi, my name is Lauren Kearns. I live at 29 Old Republic in Marlton, New Jersey. I teach 3rd grade at Crescent Elementary School, and I'm very proud to say that I do that. We are an amazing district, and I want to thank the board for giving us the time to have this talk to express our feelings. I have many questions, but I don't want to hog up all the time. So my question is this: if a staff member or a student contracts COVID, what's the protocol? Do we close down immediately? Do we stay open? Do we wait for a certain amount of cases to come through before we do that? If it is only a minimal amount of cases that might project, which inevitably, I hate to say it, I think it's going to happen. Do we go through all this hybrid planning, which is so difficult for teachers? And I understand it's difficult for parents. Please understand that. But I'm wondering, do we do all this and then have one or 2 cases, however many it may be, only to have to go all virtual? My question is, maybe we should just go all virtual in the beginning, just to play it out. Give teachers more time to plan, get trained, because honestly, we don't feel that we are trained enough. We have all these wonderful resources being given to us, and we are thankful for that. I've been teaching for 22 years, and I am terrified that I am not going to be doing what I should be doing. I don't feel adequately trained, and I just feel maybe we could have a little more time. And that's all I'm asking. So I thank you for the time to hear me out. Thank you.
Diane Manishow.
Hi, my name is Diane Manishow. I live at 6 White Court, and I have been a resident of Voorhees for 40 years and teaching very excitedly in the district for 20 years. I thank you so very much for allowing us to speak, and please bear with me. This is very emotional for me, so I am actually going to read from my notes. This is the time of year for me when I am so truly excited, because I can't wait to get back into my classroom and meet my new group of students. However, that is not the case this year. I am actually terrified of the thought of being in my classroom. In life, I believe that the risk should be worth the reward. And in the case of us returning to our classroom, to me, the risks so far outweigh the reward, because I don't see actually any reward at this time in being back in the classroom. Yes, in-class instruction is the ideal. We all, I think, believe that. But it would not be the in-class instruction as we know it, not in this new COVID world. The first day of school, I always tell my students, I call them my kids, that I want my classroom to be like a second home. I want them to feel comfortable, to be able to get up, get what they need, do what they want, come over to me when they need something, talk to each other, interact. That can't happen in the new COVID world. Now they have to sit there without interacting with anyone, raising their hand just to be able to get up and do something. Our children need us on many levels. They need to be able to interact with us one-on-one. They need to be able to speak to us privately. They need sometimes special help and attention. They can't get any of that in the classroom in this new COVID world. We build relationships with our students. That's what we do. It's not possible right now in the classroom in this new COVID world. Learning is interactive and collaborative. That cannot happen in the classroom, not the way things are now. I know remote learning isn't ideal, but we will actually have more instructional time and be able to interact more with our students and then with each other remotely using Google Meet sessions and private meetings. So I urge you, for the sake of our children's health, our health, the community's health, please go all remote. Thank you.
Lisa Leaf.
Lisa Leaf, and I live at 14 Eustis Road in Marlton, and I've been with the district almost 30 years. And I want to thank you for this time. And I have reached out to you personally with my concerns, and I want you to know that I share the concerns of all the people who have spoken before me, so I won't reiterate them. But I would like to know what the liability coverage that the board has if a student or a staff member becomes seriously ill, suffers permanent damage, or dies from COVID-19. Thank you.
Jacqueline Brzezowski.
Good evening, Board of Education members and the Voorhees community. My name is Jacqueline Brzezowski, and I've been teaching literacy at the middle school since 2008. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak. I want nothing more to go back into the classroom teaching and interacting with my students. Starting every August, I anticipate and set goals for the students' success in my classroom, and for the first time, I am weary and terrified to be going back to my second home in September. There has been no time set aside for teachers to plan, create, and collaborate for the hybrid model. As a matter of fact, it was just last week that I was informed I am no longer teaching what I've been preparing to teach. I hold myself to the highest standard as an educator, and because of a lack of timely communication with teachers regarding changes, my students will be unable to have that standard met. With only 1 hour of training prior to the first day of school, teachers will be forced to divert their attention from what matters most, students and their learning, to implementing new technology. Furthermore, no teachers have been trained or practiced the hybrid model of instruction that we are expected to implement, so the students are successful. With that said, is it the board's intention to inform the parents specifically on how the hybrid is going to work? Can the board share the survey results regarding the expectations of parents? Thank you for your time hearing my concerns in order to meet and practice the high level of education that everyone for years has associated with Voorhees.
Eileen Gansman.
Good evening, Dr. Gentile, Dr. Young, and board members. Miss Eileen Gansman, 147 Sequoia Drive in Berlin. And I am proud to say that I will be starting my 33rd year here as a speech pathologist at Osage School. As a matter of fact, I'm also proud to say that my own children have gone through the district and have been received well and are doing fine. But I also have to indicate that on behalf of my colleagues and students, I would like to ask about the concerns regarding our HVAC system and if an HVAC air quality specialist will be brought into each building in our district to assess the air quality and to check for proper ventilation. Will these specialists confirm that the dampers are working properly? so that we can verify that we're getting the fresh air that is recommended by the CDC? Also, can you please address how often the carbon dioxide levels and humidity levels would be checked? And of course, will these reports be available to parents and staff? We all know that the older schools are more prone to air quality issues, and COVID-19 is said to spread in poorly ventilated areas. I ask you to consider my questions, to analyze my questions, and to think about this as I plead with you that we need to go remote. Thank you very much for your time.
Tricia Chadwick.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
There you are. Yes.
Okay, take two. Dr. Gentile and the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. First, I'll introduce myself. My name is Tricia Chadwick and I live at 101 Blue Ridge Road. I have a sophomore at Eastern that attended VMS. I also have an 8th grader currently at VMS and a 5th. I've been a volunteer at Osage for over 12 years, active member of the Parent Faculty Association. I'm a former teacher of K through 8 with a master's degree in special ed. I was a lead teacher for children with autism and I taught inclusion in regular ed classrooms. I was also a reading specialist at a Title I school. So I'm not only a mother, but an advocate for teachers. I would like to implore you and the board to consider following the route of Eastern High School and delaying the start of in-person learning until October 5th, at which point the situation could be reevaluated. Not only would this allow for teachers to learn the new platform, as well as students and parents to become more familiar, but it would lessen the burdens on reopening buildings when teachers and staff aren't fully prepared. I'm most concerned with the enormous task that's being required of teachers to do synchronous learning without proper training and practice with the new platform and methods. Classroom control is difficult enough in one venue. How can we expect two? It seems next to impossible to effectively teach our kids without the handbag of tricks that teachers are masters of using. Things like facial cues, body language, and proximity control will not be possible in both of these environments. Coupled with the uncertainty of a virus and all of the other new sanitation procedures and hygiene education and reminders, the list goes on. Actual teaching will take a back seat. Learning will not be a priority. And as any trained teacher knows, learning cannot take place until basic needs are met. A healthy and safe environment comes first in the hierarchy of needs. And I have no doubt that the teachers will rise to the occasion and give their most concerted efforts. But at what point is the ask too much? As essential workers, this is a job that can be performed most effectively from the safety of their homes. And students will be more apt to learn in an environment where their basic needs are met, in the home. Another important point of health and safety is the air quality and ventilation. I have grave concerns we don't have the recommended standards set forth in the governor's road back plan. Air quality report has not been available and should contain information that helps in the decision-making process for schools and parents. The plan you have linked in your letter about reopening goes to a site that has guidelines for healthy reopening of schools. There, they cite minimum recommendations for ventilation systems.
Your comments, I'm sorry, the 3 minutes has expired.
Melissa Elanio.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Iliano, and I'm honored to say that I'm a 7th grade literacy teacher at Voorhees Middle School. I first want to start off by thanking the Board of Education, our superintendent, our administration, and the VTEA for all their hard work and dedication during this pandemic. It is my belief that it is not responsible nor safe to put teachers' lives and their family members' lives at risk by forcing in-person instruction for all teachers. Even though you are giving the parents the right to make the responsible decision to send or not send their child for in-person instruction, we, the teachers, deserve to be given that same choice to make a responsible decision to either teach in person or from home. This decision will be made for not only the students that we are teaching, but for our health and safety and our family and loved ones at home. I would like to remind you that we, the teachers of Voorhees Public Schools, are highly qualified teachers who have proven over and over again that we go above and beyond at setting the high standards for academic achievement for students. Us teachers are resilient. We go through changes year after year, whether it's teaching a new grade level, new curriculum, or using the many variations of technology that we have been so privileged to be given over the years. We work countless hours during school and after school, improving our teaching, communicating with families, and striving to be the best role model for our students. We know that that's our job, and that's what we signed up for, and that no matter what curveballs are thrown our way, we will rock our teaching, either from home or from classroom. And we will give every student the opportunity for a higher level of education while also keeping ourselves and our family members safe. It is also our job to teach the whole child in not just an academic achievement, but in the social emotional learning and character development by teaching them how to be more self-aware, make responsible decisions, have empathy and respect for others, and address moral and ethical values to make them great citizens of our community. How can we teach those parts of social emotional learning and character development if we ourselves are not modeling and practicing those same traits? I know this is a tough decision to navigate. There is no one-size-fits-all decision. If you choose to go with a hybrid schedule, which I strongly believe is an irresponsible and unsafe decision, I will have no other choice but to accept it, knowing that I've done all that I can do to voice my concerns. However, we can still choose to let our parents and staff make the responsible decision that is in the best interest for themselves. I know if we act responsibly, we will recover as a community from this pandemic. I don't know that we will recover if we act otherwise. I have faith that we will ultimately make a decision that is in the best interest for our students and our staff, which will keep our school and community safe, unified, honorable, and inspiring. All the qualities that contributed to me falling in love with this school district 11 years ago. Thank you for your time.
David? Stephanie Levin?
Good evening, Dr. Gentile, Dr. Young, Mrs. Wallace, and the Voorhees Township Board of Education. My name is Stephanie Levin, and I've had the privilege of teaching middle school for 22 years now. I'm a special education teacher and have given 100% of myself to my students over these years, and will continue to do so. But I'm extremely concerned for the safety of myself as well as my colleagues. But I'm especially concerned for the safety of the students in the middle school building, particularly during the change of classes. As an inclusion teacher, the students in my class will be fortunate to be supervised during the change of classes until the next period teacher comes to instruct. But what's going to happen and who's going to supervise the other students in classes waiting for the teachers to arrive there from the class that they were in? I have always been under the assumption that it was illegal to leave students unattended in a classroom. I would like to know who's going to be responsible for what happens during that unsupervised time in the classroom. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you consider all of the legal issues opening schools before it is safe can bring to the district. Thank you.
Tara Johnson?
Hi, my name is Tara Johnson, and I've worked for the Voorhees Township Public Schools for almost 17 years. I started out as an instructional associate and then became a literacy teacher, and I love my job. Not many people can say they love to get up in the morning to go to work, but I can. I'm so appreciative for the opportunity to work in one of the best districts in New Jersey. I want to thank the board, Dr. Gentile, the committees, and the administration and VTEA for the amount of time they put into our road back plan. Teachers, staff, and families all want what is best for our students. We all want students to be safe. We need to ensure that there are protocols set in place and followed to ensure a safe opening. As of right now, I personally don't feel it is safe for us to open. Teachers and staff have a lot of unanswered questions. Some questions I have are, if a staff member is in contact with tests positive, will they need to quarantine? If so, do they lose 14 sick days? What if a staff member has to quarantine multiple times in a school year? 2, if a staff member's child needs to quarantine due to their school or daycare, or their school is closed due to a COVID outbreak, will staff at Voorhees be required to use their days? Do the staff members need to quarantine if their child has to quarantine? In addition, will disciplinary actions based on attendance, using the attendance policy that we have, like the meetings with the administrations or letters in our files, be suspended during this pandemic and this school year? Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak tonight.
Cindy Slosky.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Slosky. I live at 156 Stokes Road, Medford Lakes, but I teach 8th grade science at VMS. I don't have a question, but I was at the middle school today, and I wanted to tell you some of the things that I encountered there. First, I was told that the HVAC filters and the UV lights are on back order, which you reiterated tonight. There was no plexiglass in the 8th grade wing. There were no touchless sinks in the student or staff bathrooms. There was no soap in the staff bathroom. In my own classroom, there was a dirty trash can with no bag. There were also dead bugs on the floor and the counters. Nothing I saw today led me to believe that there is any way to bring students or staff back into VMS and to do it safely. Thank you.
Nakia Speaks.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Board of Education. Thank you for your time. My name is Nakia Speaks. I reside at 9 Acadia Drive, and I'm a proud parent of 2 daughters at Crescent School. Not only am I a parent, but I also work for a local school district as well, actually Winslow Township School District. And my heart really goes out to the staff here at Crescent because I know their pain. I know that their spirits are vexed because I was in that same predicament. But thankfully, we had an emergency board meeting last week, and our superintendent did not feel comfortable certifying the HVAC system in our district without having an independent consultant do so. So I highly urge the Voorhees Township School District to do the same, to not put staff or students in harm's way, and to make sure, among other concerns, that HVAC system is certified by an independent company. Thank you for your time.
Julia Elliott.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. I agree with everything my colleagues have said so far. My main concern, though, is if we are to return hybrid learning, when we're in school and the students are having snacks or lunch or whatever we want to call it, they will be removing their masks in the classroom to eat. Restaurants are still not allowing people into classrooms to eat. Even if I only wanted to go in for a few minutes to grab a snack with my kids after something or before something, I still can't do it. Yet in school, students are going to be allowed to remove their masks, and a teacher is going to be required to stay in the classroom with them with their masks off. I find it very concerning, and maybe a possible solution would be that we eliminate that half-hour period in the day and we dismiss earlier if the direction that we're going is to go back to school. Thank you.
Craig Pettimaj.
Hello, good evening. I apologize. I'm also in the middle of a Zoom meeting with the Town Planning Committee also for a proposal. So Joseph Pettimaj, teacher, resident, parent of 2 beautiful daughters. One attends Osage and one attends Eastern. As a parent and a teacher, I see both sides of the story. I've made a decision for my daughters, but I'm to keep them home. But I want to step back because I agree with a lot of the points. And I would like to thank everybody, and I would love if somehow it could come together more as a teamwork versus a little bit adversarial. The board members should never be put in a spot where they're attacked, whether it's through social media, etc. And also the administration and the teachers and the parents. Once again, nobody's saying they don't want to work. We do understand the struggles of working parents, as most of us are.
Girl.
I just hope that parents and teachers remember that, because we've always had a very cooperative working relationship, administrations, teachers, parents. So I would implore that versus becoming at each other, work with each other. So that's my 2 cents. I appreciate it, and I'm going to switch back to my other meeting. Thank you.
Holly Richter.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the board and the VTA members also for listening. My name is Holly Richter. I'm a special education teacher in 8th grade at VMS. I also have 2 children that also attend VMS public schools, which I'm extremely proud of. But I'm also a concerned parent as a teacher for our schools to reopen so quickly. Thinking back in March when we shut down, how little we knew about this pandemic. Even then we were told as a country that masks did not work. So don't buy them because the medical fields need them the most. Today we have learned they do work, and most will use because while social distancing, we could help reduce the spread. We still don't know most about this pandemic. We haven't been allowed to have indoor dining or go into movie theaters or even inside a bank to truly see how this spreads and lives indoors. I don't understand how we can use our children and staff to be the ones to finally prove this virus is lethal. I use the word lethal because last week our governor was asked about indoor dining and he stated indoors is lethal. Even today, our governor still denied indoor dining because of any time without masks off is dangerous. Schools are indoors, and we are allowing our staff and children to be inside the classroom. Masks will be off for at least a half hour or more. What happens when, not if, when a child sneezes or coughs during that time? It lives in the air for a long period of time, and we do not have the proper ventilation to sanitize the air that rapidly. Trash from eating will be airborne unless we have trash cans with lids, and even that doesn't guarantee it's safe. Bathrooms are another concern since they will not be properly monitored every minute of the day. There'll be multiple children in the bathroom at one time. Knowing children, they will take off their mask as soon as they enter the bathroom. What do we do about keeping the air and sanitize clean before the next child goes in? We all want the best for our families and students, and we would never put them in harm's way. So why are we taking that chance now? The building is just not safe to bring back children and staff. We don't have the cleaning supplies equipment either at this point to prepare for school. We need time to get our safety precautions ready to go and time to also train with our new technology system. As of today, I have no idea what that entails. I haven't been back into the building to even see what it looks like. We are supposed to clean our rooms and have technology figured out within hours of limited in-service time. During the 2 days of in-service, we have to attend many meetings that will also take away more time to fully understand this equipment. We need proper training to be safe and successful. I do miss seeing my students in person, but it's not worth their safety, in which as a parent as well, I feel the same. We just need more time to prepare for our safety precautions and become seamless with our new methods of learning. We just want to be set up for success and not for failure. And that's all we want for our families and friends and staff and students. Thank you.
All right, Caitlin Palumbo.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Palumbo. I'm the art teacher at Signal Hill Elementary. To my fellow staff members, I just want to say that I appreciate all of your comments and concerns, and I agree with them, and I have a few that I would like to add. My first concern that I would like to address is the equity of education for remote learners. Yes, we're giving parents the choice to keep their children safe at home, but is live streaming really a good option for remote learning? With all due respect to the board, during your meeting today, I had a difficult time understanding what you were saying, and I believe you're using the exact same technology that we as teachers will be expected to use in our classroom, while simultaneously also teaching art face-to-face learners. On the other hand, I had no problem hearing Eileen Gansman, Ashley Gumto, Christine Blizzard, who were using the more traditional remote learning technology. We have been provided with very limited PPE, including these enormous sort of Darth Vader style face shields as well as cloth masks, which one of my staff members tried on today, and it literally comes up over their eyes and to their foreheads. How is that possibly going to work? Remote teaching from home is so much more effective because it's unmasked, interactive, and equitable for all students. Did the district consider having specific remote teachers for our remote learners? It seems as though they did not. Instead, Voorhees is making even its high-risk staff teach from our school buildings with HVAC systems that are not equipped to filter out this virus. Nearly 200,000 Americans have already died of COVID-19, and people are very quick to point out that many of these individuals had pre-existing health issues that made them high risk. Why then are we not finding a way to protect our high-risk staff members? Please consider a full remote opening until these and many other concerns can be addressed. Thank you for your time.
Brooke Yarnell.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Oh, I'll turn on my video. When I was hired 15 years ago by the Voorhees Board of Ed as an OT, I remember hearing Mr. Brosel speak at my orientation. I felt inspired, and I knew that I worked for a great district that valued and appreciated their staff, all staff. There's so many situations where the district has really showed its heart and respect for all of their employees. And this is a time that I implore you to do the same. Listen to your staff, listen to your valued, educated staff. They are the experts here. I'm so impressed and inspired by all of these speeches, and I can't believe that these are my colleagues. I feel so blessed. 85% of your valued staff members are stating that they don't feel safe walking into the buildings next week. And almost half of your students apparently are choosing remote option because they themselves, their families do not feel, or they feel that that is the safest choice for them is to be remote. The staff unfortunately don't have that choice for next week. I was here at the last 2 board meetings ago with a COVID scare myself. Thankfully, I was negative, but what if I wasn't? What if I was traveling around again to those 3 schools, seeing 65+ kids, going into all different classrooms, and possibly being a super spreader? In terms of the PPE that was ordered, I can't thank you enough for all of the things that you guys have done. I listen to other districts and I know that we have gone above and beyond. And I praise you for all of those things that you have put in order. However, when we look at HVAC systems, you need a MERV 13 to 17 or HEPA filters in order to filter out any of this COVID virus. And apparently we have like a MERV 8, I believe. That's not going to do anything. Quarantine rooms, I believe, from the ASHRAE guidelines say that they should have different ductwork and truncation to prevent the virus from spreading from children that may be in that quarantine room. Is that looked into? Do we have an expert to verify all of these things, all these questions? And we could go on and on. There's hundreds of these questions that I don't believe that we've had specific answers to. Changing the ceiling tiles and the carpets is wonderful. And again, we appreciate all of this upkeep and trying to keep up the maintenance and the appearance. However, that doesn't remediate the actual HVAC issues that are underlying, that are causing the wetness in these classrooms and the mold and the tile damage. Again, there's tons of questions. I think my colleagues have stated a ton of them, and I thank you for your time. And we just want answers to these questions before we can walk in the building and say that we feel safe. Thank you so much for your time.
Janine Martin. Janine Martin. Joyce Lorella.
Hi, good evening. My name is Joyce Lorella, and I currently teach 8th grade science at the Voorhees Middle School. I'm here tonight to tell you that since the spring, nothing has changed. District-wide, we are not prepared. We are not ready, and students arrive in 5 business days. With PPE just delivered on August 20th and not installed or distributed, the buildings are not yet prepared for us to be in. Some teachers have just this week been told what subject they will be teaching. How prepared do you think they will be in just 5 business days? Conflicting information is regularly being given. For example, whether teachers working from home or in the building on Wednesdays. In the middle school, to date, not one teacher has ever taught using the synchronous hybrid method while simultaneously in Google Meet on multiple devices with students in the room and at home. No teachers have even tried the system out. Additionally, the technology has not been installed yet. Please, board members, go see for yourselves. And remember, 5 business days. While other districts have offered PD all summer long to their educators, our district in haste scheduled PD last week on 4 days' notice via email during a time when teachers are not frequently checking their email. With 4 days' notice, it's no wonder only 38% of the middle school teaching staff attended. Furthermore, the training, while pedagogically sound, offered no advice for trauma-informed education while teaching during the pandemic, nor did it address the pandemic or the challenges our community will be facing in the classroom as we begin teaching amidst very unplanned circumstances. When we return next week to clear our rooms of all items except teacher and student desks, our 2 tech staff on site will be occupied with clear touch training and able to help the 83 teachers as we try to practice using the technology so we are prepared to use it on September 8th. We are not prepared. We are not ready. I want to be prepared for my students. I want to set a good impression. I want to use the technology as seamlessly as possible, but I have not had the opportunity to do so. How am I to instill confidence in my students and their families if I'm not prepared? To avoid the situation and prepare the staff adequately while also avoiding the disruption of the school calendar, the solution is simple. Move the scheduled PD days to September and begin hybrid instruction on Monday, September 14th. Otherwise, parents and students alike will start the year frustrated and disgusted with us. In closing, if you do not allow for teacher training, you will be doing a disservice to the community that we together serve. Thank you for allowing me to speak and for your time and service to the Voorhees community.
Deborah Wolf Hines.
Good evening. Yep, I'm here. First of all, I sent a letter to the board members, I think it was yesterday, explaining my personal situation and my very serious concerns about the opening in a hybrid format. I'd also like to just publicly say the Herculean efforts that the board has done and the staff, the custodial staff and Clark. I'm sure they have been working, and VTEA, tirelessly to try to prepare. The bottom line is we're not prepared for all of the things that have been mentioned above. I just don't feel that they are prepared. Personally, I am not sending my own children back. I am choosing the remote option for my own children. It is just not safe to return to school. And it just weighs heavily that we are willing to risk the life of a teacher, a student, or a member of their family to force a hybrid start, for which we are obviously not trained enough yet. So I do have a question. I urge you to please read my letter that I sent to the members of the board from today. I'm not going to go into the full details of it, but I seriously, it's just not, we're not ready. We're just not ready. I do have a question for the board that has been presented to me. Who will be the contact person in the event a parent or staff member wants to pursue legal action because of harm suffered from our opening of our schools before adequate safety measures were implemented? As I have been teaching this district for 36 years now. Yep, I'm old, and I am a very proud, bragging member as a Voorhees staff member. Much to my friends are sick of hearing it most of the time. I am so proud to be a member of the Voorhees community. And I implore you to please reconsider the hybrid start. Thank you for your time.
Tim Sundstrom.
Hi, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am not going to reiterate all of the concerns that people have already said. I have the same concerns. What I would like to say is, if I understood correctly at the last board meeting, I heard several board members talking about time restraints and the restrictions that the governor had given to us, and that this was the best plan we could do given those restrictions. That has changed since then. At that time, an all remote start was not possible. It is possible now. I heard board members talking about thinking outside the box and going beyond minimal expectations or requirements. We have been given the time to do that. to make sure that when we return that it is safe. During that meeting, I also heard someone asking us to please trust the decisions that you make. But the teachers are the people who are in the classrooms. While it's a fantastic plan in the amount of effort and time and thought that has gone into it, the teachers who are in the classrooms are the experts on the one variable that blows the whole thing out of the water, which is the children. I was at orientation today, and it was wonderful to see students in person again. But try as they may, their little masks were below their nose. They took their mask down to say hello so I could hear them. They're the variable that we are the experts on. And so I would ask you maybe to trust us, because we might have a better idea about that and about what actually will work in real life in the real classroom. You trust us with your children. When there's an academic problem or a behavioral problem, you ask for our opinion. We're giving them to you now. And I would ask for you to please trust those who might have the better knowledge of the situation. Thank you.
Fran Karatis.
Hello, my name is Fran Curtatis, and I'm a school library media specialist at E.T. Hamilton. I have also been a special education teacher as well as a classroom teacher in the district starting all the way back in 1999. I want to thank our administration for the time and effort they've put into our return to school plan. I also want to thank our board for the time they've taken to review the plan, as well as the hard questions that they have continued to ask. I want to say that it's not easy for teachers to come to a board meeting like this and to speak out. It's not easy at all. It takes a lot to do this. And I just want to say that Gabe, the student that spoke earlier, he was never my student. I don't know him, but I'm so proud of him. And he's the one that gave me the courage to speak tonight. I just want to reiterate what many of my colleagues have already said about my concern about our lack of preparedness when it comes to the technology that we're expected to use beginning on September 8th. We are so fortunate to have the technology and the resources that we have in our district, but in order for those resources to be successful, we need to be properly trained. Every class, as you know, has been equipped with a brand new clear touch board, which most of us have zero experience with. Other than an optional training that is offered this week that many cannot attend, we'll be getting exactly 1 hour of training on September 2nd and 3rd. We'll be expected to be proficient enough to teach with these boards while we simultaneously teach our in-person students as well as our students who are joining us remotely from home. I speak for myself and many of my colleagues when I say that we do not feel prepared for this right now. We need more time. We need more training. I would also like to remind you that while we are trying to figure out new technology and new ways to effectively instruct our students, we will also be dealing with small children who are adjusting to wearing masks for hours on end, who are upset because they can't be near their friends or aren't allowed to get up out of their seats. Please consider the preparedness of our teachers and think about our young students when you make the final decision about whether or not the district is truly ready to open. We love our students and have more than proven our dedication to them, their families, and our profession. We want more than anything to be with them in person, but the district has a responsibility to make sure that we are as prepared as possible. Otherwise, we are doing a disservice to the entire community. Voorhees families are trusting that we are ready, and I can assure you that we are not. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and please consider giving more time so that we are ready. Thank you very much.
Amy Ronska-Kasme.
Good evening. My name is Amy Ronska-Kasme. I reside at 1303 Riverton Road in Cinnaminson, and I am proud to be a 5th grade teacher at Crescent Elementary School. I'm speaking to you tonight not just as a teacher, but as someone who went through the Voorhees school system from kindergarten through 8th grade and then graduated from Eastern High School. I was part of the 2nd graduating class of Crescent School, and I'm very proud of that legacy. Tonight is also a chance for us as a community to leave a lasting legacy on the children in Voorhees. There is no doubt that countless hours have been spent creating a reopening plan that is the best we can come up with right now. But to me, that is not the true heart of the matter. Instead, I feel we should be focusing on whether this plan is truly best for our students, our staff, our children of Voorhees. Currently, the message we are sending to our children and our staff is that it is safe for us to return to school. In saying this, I've been left with many lingering questions that I believe few, if any, really have the answers to. Do we know enough about this disease to say that all the new safety protocols and PPE will fully keep our students healthy and safe? Are we truly prepared to handle the potential medical, emotional, and legal ramifications should any student or staff test positive and have serious medical issues from COVID? If we are saying it's safe for our children and our staff to return, does that mean it's also safe for Board of Ed meetings, back to school nights, and other events to resume in person? And finally, with so many unknowns, is opening schools truly safe? I've learned that it is so easy to say what I would do in a given situation, but it's hard to know what I would actually do until it happens, no matter how prepared I thought I was. We truly do not know the lasting impact of this disease. And the reality is that until we are able to be back with our students in the classroom full time, there is no option that will make everyone happy. My hope is that you will strongly consider the lasting impact your decision could have on the students and staff of Voorhees. Thank you so much for your time.
Sherry Kaufman.
Hello, my name is Shari Kaufman. I live at 10 Fir Lane. I am a Voorhees resident, and I'm also the technology specialist at Voorhees Middle School. I'm here tonight to let you know that the technology department, our team, has been working tirelessly to get everybody ready. We are working all day, and we continue to work when we leave school to make sure everyone is ready. But what I'm asking you for is the gift of time. We have not had time to train our staff. As Joyce and Tammy both said, we have 83 staff members just in the middle school who have clear touch boards. Every 30 minutes, they will have to sign out of boards and move to another classroom. The technology department needs time to train their staff. It is me and one other person, Denise Stecker, who is a technician, that will have to support the staff in the middle school. We can do our best, but there is no way we are going to be able to support them with no training. We need to have them practice. We need them to be able to be students and teachers, be in the classroom and out of the classroom in another room, pretending they are a student, trying to communicate with a teacher in the classroom. We just need time. Please give us that time. Allow us to start remote. That way the teachers can be in the classroom learning how to use the technology with our support without children in the classroom. Thank you very much.
Jamie Ostino.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board and the superintendent for all of their efforts. I would also like to thank the amazing teachers in my life that are so very crucial to my family. We have some pretty amazing teachers in our lives, and we appreciate them greatly. It's clear tonight that many teachers do not want to go back, but I know that there are many teachers that do want to go back, and they are likely scared to speak out. To those who are speaking out against going back, I would like to remind you that the physicians of our country have spoken, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the CDC, and many other medical groups. And they've outlined the need for as much in-person education as possible for these children. The medical community is recommending we go back and that it is safe and critical that we do. We need to trust our medical community. In addition, our governor is urging us to go back. I am the parent of a third grade student and a kindergarten student. I am a nurse. My husband is a police officer. We are not alone in that we have two parents that need to go to work. I have no one home to watch my children during a virtual day. In addition, my daughter in third grade is hearing impaired, and virtual learning is an absolute nightmare for her. That is why we have this hybrid plan. I urge you not to take away the little in-person education my children will receive. The New Jersey Constitution guarantees our children a thorough and fair education. If you move to all virtual, you'll be denying our children. It is time that the taxpayers stand up to the teachers' union. If they don't want to work this year, take the year off, forgo your pay. The physicians, nurses, police officers, grocery store workers, and so on never stopped going into work so that our society did not break down. Some, including my husband, were surrounded by people with coronavirus. Not going to work was never an option. Society needs teachers, and I implore you to forge ahead with a hybrid plan that is safe and thoughtful. I urge everyone to remember the duty and obligation that they have to the children. It is time to go back to school. Unfortunately, many of the parents did not know that there would be a barrage of teachers speaking out at this meeting, or they would have likely been on. They voiced their opinions last week, and I ask you to remember that in light of tonight. Dr. Gentile and the Voorhees Board of Education, please do what is right for our children. Please do not destroy the working families of Voorhees. We are taking care of your family members when they are sick. We are making sure that you can put food on your table for your families at night and protecting and serving your communities. Thank you.
Dory Usinowicz.
Good evening. My name is Dori Usinowicz. I'm the Crescent School nurse. I would like to request that we begin with remote learning. And I request this because the guidance that we are supposed to receive from the Camden County Department of Health has yet to be determined. In recent communication this week with our contact at the Department of Health, there was not a clear answer to our PPE questions. We need clear guidance as to what is considered safe and appropriate PPE and more information on who will be considered a contact should we have a positive COVID case at the school. We, your Voorhees school nurses, your health professionals in the buildings, did not have some of the basic answers that many staff members will be asking us questions to, with the lack of information from the resource we are directed to seek guidance from. Until we receive specific guidance from the Camden County Department of Health, we cannot confidently protect our staff and students. Thank you.
John Martin.
Hello. First, this is Janine Martin. We both have our names in and we both like to speak about different things. John is my husband. I'm Janine Martin, 14 Redstone Ridge. I am speaking tonight because I want it to be known as a matter of public record that in the past 2 weeks, I have sent 2 emails requesting information and answers to my concerns on reopening. The first email was sent Friday morning, August 14th, just before 11 a.m. And the second request was a request for a response was sent on August 22nd to date. And at this point in time, on August 26th, I have received no response from the board or the administration. And I haven't even received a perfunctory, I will get back to you. My email includes questions on ventilation, UV lighting, snack time with unmasked children, teacher training, classroom setup, PPE, schedules, procedures for movement of students, mock classes for the teachers, adherence to FERPA, and the district network testing and reliability. Here we are again, 12 calendar days from our children supposed to be returning to school. Based on the most recent email from the superintendent, as a parent, I have no information to make the best decision for my child, for their education, their health and well-being, or for the concerns I have for our teachers and staff in all of our buildings. The lack of information and transparency in our district is appalling. And I am sad to say that the once shining district of Voorhees that we moved into to educate our children in this administration is circling the drain. What little engagement there has been has led to no collaboration, no innovation, because the ideas and offers of help fall on completely deaf ears. Our district is full of excellent educators. Most of them, actually a lot of them, educated right here in Voorhees. You heard from some of them tonight, as well as parents and community members that are full of expertise. We have medical professionals, technologists, HVAC providers, engineers, and so on. To date, I have not found any one of them to be invited to engage with the district, even though many have offered their expertise at no cost for the betterment of our district and the education of each and every student in Voorhees. Our teachers teach our students to use their resources, but our district has not learned that most important lesson, which is a complete and utter failure of duty. Thank you for your time and my moment to speak. I do still expect to receive answers from my questions before the district reopens in 12 days. And Helen, thank you for your list. I hope that you will publish that for the district so that parents and everyone knows what's been bought, what's been received, and what's been installed. Thank you. Oh, now my husband was next, and his name is John Martin.
Hello, John Martin, 14 Redstone Ridge. In listening to today's dialogue, I want to thank the teachers and recognize their safety concerns. However, I do know with the right planning, training, and PPE, we can teach safely. However, based on what I know personally, the poor communication to date to the teachers, which I've heard tonight, and to the parents, which I've personally experienced, it is clear that we are not ready. This school district is failing right now. March 16th was a major change to everyone, one that everyone knew was coming. Even if we didn't recognize it in advance, we had time to react. It did take a few weeks to get to the new norm, to do the best that we could do for the 2019-2020 school year. This district has failed in the last 5 months. What I do look forward to is a root cause analysis and to address the accountability of the failed planning for the last 5 months. We'd had 5 months to prepare for the 2020-2021 school year. There's no reason that we're having the discussions that we're having tonight. But right now it's time to look forward. We need to be successful for September 8th opening, 12 calendar days. We have to decide what can be accomplished, and we have to decide what cannot be accomplished. We have to teach the teachers, and we have to have the teachers teach one another and sample the technology and figure out how they're going to use it to be successful for our students. We have to get the teachers comfortable in their work environment. We have to make sure that our facilities are technically and physically ready to receive first the teachers, then the students. We have to communicate. It's fundamental to success. And it's clear that the communication has been horrible. Execute on what you can change and do well, and accept what you cannot, and communicate what is not going to happen. It's a pandemic. Normal activities and budgets should be thrown out the window, and we need to address what has to happen to get our students back to school and to get them learning. Let's talk a second about technology. Apple iPads, Google Classroom, Microsoft laptops, Android-based touchscreens. Your technology stack is a nightmare. It's disjointed. Unfortunately, poor decisions of the past have been made, and we need to move forward and make the best of them. Again, accept what we cannot change and change what we have to execute on. Technology is simply a tool. It needs to be used to form a solution. With our teachers, I know that we can do that. In closing, we have to accept the failures to date, do the best we can do in the next 12 calendar days, and work a plan every day to get back open. And finally, by the end of September, we should trigger a root cause analysis of the failure of the last 5 months and identify what we need to do.
Kelly Gordon.
Hello, my name is Kelly Gordon. I reside at 1226 Maple Avenue. I have a rising first and fifth grader. My family supports our teachers. They have clearly not been offered appropriate training to handle the hybrid option at this time. There has not been a clear plan laid out to address COVID cases in the classroom. Information about HVAC system has been less than transparent. I don't intend to send my children because you have not laid out a plan that makes me feel confident that appropriate health measures have been put into place. Now I'm concerned that you will not listen to our teachers when they tell you that they are unprepared to handle this. My fifth grader, who receives special ed services, will be at a further educational disadvantage. You need to provide our teachers with proper training, and you need to provide them with time. Thank you.
Tony Clark.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Gentile. I just wanted to reiterate some of the things that we have been said previous to before I got on. I just wanted to let you know, I'll be starting my 32nd year here as a Voorhees teacher, and as people have said before me, I'm very proud of that, my service to this community, and how much I appreciate the partnerships that our association has had with the administration and with the board. I realize this time has been a challenging time for all of us, the board, the administration, the family and the students, and of course our staff. I can't stress enough that our members wish to be back in the classroom with our students, as it's been stated earlier. We wish to thank the Voorhees community for the incredible expenditures and investments for the safety and for the students and staff, as well as the accommodations that have been granted for some of the staff who need to be remote for their health and safety. The only thing we are seeking is a firm reassurance that our workplaces are safe and that enough time exists to install all of the remaining safety equipment and for the training, not only for the safety procedures for the students and staff, but also to ensure that our students and staff are well versed in the precepts of the remote learning model, as well as with the new technologies. The investment of time now will ensure that all the preparations can be fully implemented. VTA is prepared, as always, as we've been for the entire summer, to work with the administration and the board to guarantee the safest possible reopening of our schools. If it is determined by the board that additional time is needed, we ask the board to be open to that eventuality or to granting that time. So again, we look for information, and again, appreciate the list that Helen put out there. We'll be looking for that list to just check through it, but we really appreciate everything that everybody's done. And if the time is needed, then we should be given the time to make sure that this is done in the right way, not in a haphazard way. Thank you.
I'll come back to Chris Coco. I need Michelle Nacita at this time. Michelle Nacita.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gentile. Yeah, I wasn't actually planning to speak tonight, but after hearing all of the teachers speak up and the concerns they've presented, along with parents on both sides of the issue, it's my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, but that the plan as it stands has already been submitted for approval, and tonight's vote is merely a formality. So my question to the board and to the superintendent is, I know you begin your meetings with the board is limited in their ability to respond, but surely you can offer some communication tonight to the public and not just give us the answer that you're limited in your ability to respond with no responses. Thank you.
Chrysola Coco.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. I unfortunately missed part of the board meeting. I didn't miss the teachers and some of the parents talking, but I was also trying to jump on the other meeting that is going on within Voorhees Township parameters regarding this methadone clinic. So I apologize. So I was jumping back and forth. From listening to everyone tonight, and it's so different from the last meeting where there are so many more teachers on here tonight. And, that really gives you perspective as to how everyone is, feeling, and if they're feeling comfortable to go back to work. And, there's a good side and a bad side to that, I think, for everyone. I wish there was a perfect answer, and I guess there isn't. The same way as I am a parent and I've had to kind of juggle working from home as well as being my children's full-time one-on-one aides. And I have two kids with autism. One is in the Voorhees Middle School and one is at Eastern High School. So when one of the teachers said that, maybe only 38% of the teachers were even able to answer emails or get to their emails over some of their break, this summer, I feel horribly for them because I feel like you all should get a break. You've been working so diligently and things have certainly gotten better from March to now. I can see it. And I went through some school with my kids, or ESYs as you call it. And I can see that things have progressed tremendously. And that shows me that there is some teaching and success going on out there. But again, I don't know it firsthand as the teachers do. I can say that we all don't know. Unfortunately, the extensive effects of COVID. And I don't know if we ever will, unfortunately. I don't speak as a medical professional because I'm not, but if we continue in this pattern where we kind of lock ourselves in shells and behind our doors, I don't know that any of us are ever going to become immune to it or going to become more comfortable with it. I have 2 kids with autism, and they've been wearing masks like champs. I have to say, I give them credit for that. I know it's not comfortable for me, so I can only imagine how it would be for the children. So I do think that some incorporated break from mask wearing when they are outside definitely has to be considered. I guess I want to give our kids a chance to see if they can make it in this environment.
We do have to move on to the next speaker.
Rachel Lafferty, please.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone can just take a big, deep breath because I know I'm over here super stressed out about saying anything. So I want to thank Jamie for giving me the courage to speak, as I am someone who has felt, I'm a kindergarten, first grade, second grade self-contained teacher at Crescent. I've been very afraid to speak because I am definitely in the minority as someone who does feel comfortable going back to school. Yes, I have a very ill father who I would not be able to see for some time. I have a 65-year-old mother who is working in a Catholic school on the 4th floor in South Philly with not even a fan permitted in her classroom. I've never felt more isolated in a district as I have this year, and this is my 4th school district. I look like I'm about 13, but I promise I've been teaching for my 11th year. No one has ever been, like Craig said, please try to see all sides of the picture. No one has ever done this before. No one is asking for perfection. Our country is divided so powerfully that the last thing we need is division among our colleagues and our parents and our board and all the people who should be working together and setting examples for our students as to what it looks like to be collaborative, not combative as a team. This is my 2nd year in Voorhees, and I'm going into my 11th year. I'll be starting at Crescent for my 11th year teaching. I've been working with students with special needs since 2010. I've worked in the resource role, an inclusion teacher, and this will be my 6th year in the self-contained setting. What I've experienced at Crescent and Signal Hill so far were unfathomable to me when working in the intercity of Boston and Lawrence, Massachusetts. I can only dream that my students in Boston and Lawrence had a 4th, and Philadelphia had a 4th of the resources that students here have. I walked into Crescent today where I'll be teaching 8 students with significant special needs who have regressed immensely, socially, emotionally, and academically since March. They're getting all of their services remotely or they're not getting them at all. I've had parents call me for assistance in helping their students with emotional and behavioral needs because they need the help. My classroom has a completely touchless bathroom that the janitors introduced me to when I got there on Monday. My clear touch board was installed on Monday as well, and there are hand sanitization stations that have been set up around the school. Staff members who work with students with special needs were given an unlimited budget to buy individual materials for each student. I have only ever been given $100 for an entire year in Boston. I've had conferences with parents when mice would run across the room. My room is ready. My students are suffering. They may be a small percentage of the district student population, but they are my 100%. I created packets each week and drove them to their houses. Developmentally, my students are significantly delayed. Missing in-person instruction doesn't just put my students a few months behind, it significantly affects the trajectory of their lives. Children are the most resilient people I've ever worked with. My students have adapted to unprecedented times before, during the tragic gas line explosions in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where we lost members of our community. And I've always learned from them. Please consider allowing students with significant special needs to have access to in-person instruction, just as the option was presented this.
Sorry, your 3 minutes has expired.
Adam Alstino.
Good evening. Half of our parents elected to have our children in the classroom this year. I am one of them. The voice of parents and taxpayers is being minimized. Parents are up against a union machine determined not to educate our children. Not all teachers feel this way, but many are afraid to speak out. What would be the conditions that would make the union feel safe? It's a moving target. COVID numbers have remained flat since June. There's no spike in daycare workers, no spike in cashiers, no spike in European and Asian schools. Things aren't changing anytime soon. It's likely that things are going to be the same for the whole school year. My young children can't wait till next year to get an education. They're falling behind. The HVAC issue is a state union strategy to obstruct reopening. The cost and time is completely unreasonable. We're being bogged down with technical jargon and vague metrics. Winslow, our neighboring district, has to pay $280,000 just to study their system. That's before any repairs or upgrades are done. The union's goal is to keep our kids out of the building for the entire year and in the process, possibly bankrupt our taxpayers. In 2011, we fought against a charter school in our town. I was one of those people vocal against it. We were satisfied, more than satisfied, with the quality of the education being provided to our children in our public schools. Today, many in our community are doubting this. Many private and charter schools are open 5 days in person. Maybe it's time for more choices. I hope the Board of Education will make the right decision today. I ask the board to open our schools and educate our children. Thank you.
Crystal Love.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Love. I am a resident of Voorhees for the past 32 years. I am a mother of 4 children that have gone through this school system, and I am proud to be a teacher of Voorhees Middle School. I've heard a lot of things tonight, but one thing that I think it's important to mention is common sense. And common sense basically has said that we're not ready. I want to give you all a quote, and then I'll conclude. Most of the problems in life are because of 2 reasons. We act without thinking, or we keep thinking without acting. And I would submit to Dr. Gentile and to the board to actually get on a bus, pretend that you're children, go to one school, go to the 4 schools, go to the middle school, and actually spend a full day walking in the shoes of our children, and then also walking in the lives of the teachers. I want to go back to teach. I love my children. I have taught the parents that are on here tonight, and also some of the board members. I have taught your children. You all know how committed I am, but I want to do it in a safe environment for my peers as well as your children. So think about this. As one administrator said today during our training sessions, use common sense. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening.
Kim Brand.
Hello, my name is Kim Brand. I live at 3 Suffolk Court in Cherry Hill. I am the speech language pathologist at Crescent Elementary School. I wanted to speak tonight because I want everyone on the board and all of the parents to know that our teachers want nothing more than to go back to school and be with our students. There is no one more dedicated to the students than the staff at Voorhees. As the speech language pathologist at Crescent, I have been providing virtual Google Meet sessions for my students since April, and also I worked remotely during ESY. And I can say with confidence that during our Google Meet sessions, all of my students have been able to make progress towards their speech and language IEP goals. Success with virtual learning is possible, and it is what's safe. Please understand that our staff and our students, our safety should come first and foremost. And I appreciate so much how the Board of Education and administration has worked tirelessly to create this hybrid plan. But unfortunately, there are still so many unanswered questions. And those unanswered questions let us know that safety is still a huge concern for our staff and students. And please, I ask you, if you can please reconsider going full remote, because I can tell you that with the proper training for teachers with new technology and related services continuing to use Google Meet sessions, all of our students in Voorhees can find success with remote learning. We all want to get back to school, but we need more time. We are not ready. Please, I ask you from the bottom of my heart to look at what is going on in our world and know that right now it is a pandemic. This is not the normal life. Please, I ask you to reconsider full remote learning, give teachers more time to be prepared with technology for remote learning, and do what is safe for our community. Thank you so much for your time.
David Berman.
Yes, hi, my name is David Berman. I live at 9 Burnham Lane. I just wanted to say that I truly appreciate how hard the teachers worked last year during remote learning. No matter which way that Voorhees goes, hybrid or remote, I have full confidence in the teachers. 5 years ago, we moved here from Mount Laurel because of the schools. Because of all the teachers that my daughter has had, I am so glad that we moved here. So I just wanted to thank the dedicated teachers of Voorhees. We should trust what they are saying and give them every chance to do the best job possible. Thank you.
Alexandra Kaufman.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Kaufman, and I live at 10 Lane in Voorhees. My mom works for VMS. She is the technology specialist. I'm here to provide a perspective that has been provided by parents, but not by many students. I am currently in college 100% online. I ended my high school experience with online instruction, missing out on milestones like senior prom, senior trip, and a graduation where my family was present. I missed moving into college, meeting new people, and attending in-person lectures. As disappointed as I am grateful for the precautions taken for my health. A senior prom means absolutely nothing in comparison to a human life. I implore you to begin online. The first wave of COVID is not over, and the second will begin and overlap with flu season. To the people who say that teachers should forgo their pay and take the year off, how do you expect income? Don't shame people for valuing their own health and lives and the health of those they know and love. I'd like to acknowledge, however, that I value the heroes that risk their lives daily to save others. I am immunocompromised, and the idea of my mom being put back into school worries me, not only for her own health, but for mine. By going back into school, regardless of the precautions taken, there is still a chance of infection. Why endanger innocent teachers and students when the risk could be avoided entirely? And to the board, at the last meeting, you stated that all the equipment was delivered, but you just said it was delivered on the 20th, about a week after the meeting. Please be more transparent. Your lives aren't the ones at risk. Thank you.
Christina Flory.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christina Flory. My address is 7 Henley Lane in Voorhees. I'm an adjunct professor, and I can tell you firsthand when we moved to remote learning, college students did not receive the same education they otherwise would have with in-person instruction. Now we're asking elementary school, middle school students to do the same. I spoke at the last board meeting, and I'll say it again. I have never been more disappointed in the teachers. You're robbing our children of an education. Frontline and essential workers have gone to work. They have not had a choice. A teacher has the right to seek alternative employment if they do not feel comfortable going to work. Please do not tell me how committed you are to your job when you're on here tonight saying that teachers cannot go back to work. Private schools have figured out how to go back to work, 5 days, full instruction. Do not take away our children's right to receive an education. You are forcing us to choose between our livelihood and our children. Teachers tonight have gone on here to complain about the HVAC air quality report. Do you request the same from stores that you visit? As an employee of a private company, if I had asked the same of my employer, they would laugh. Training, what kind of training do you need to conduct a Google Meet or facilitate a hybrid teaching? It's not all that complicated. Teachers have proven this evening how unionized they are. They are grasping for straws not to go back to work, and it is an absolute atrocity. If parents knew how this evening would go, I'm convinced more would join. Thank you.
Sola Coco.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for letting me speak again. I'm going to try to talk quickly because I know I have that bad habit. I do understand this, very big concern that teachers have as they are the frontline people who are exposed to the HVAC system. So I really think that that is an issue that needs to be more closely looked at, because us as parents are not as aware of those conditions. However, I think it's very scary to think about the ramifications, mostly in a mental capacity, that our children are having from not having the opportunity to have any sort of instruction in class learning. For my kids, I can tell you even a hello to a bus driver and a hello to a classmate on, their 11 student seat will be huge for them, because that's something that they have been sort of left in isolation for. And as much as the teachers have really tried very hard to incorporate social skills, and I really commend them on everything that they have done to explore those opportunities, it's very hard to do so on a flat screen. The other big piece, I think, is this sanitation should not be left upon the teachers. Why are they cleaning desks and classrooms and equipment? And I mean, use the cafeteria workers who aren't going to be making lunch because there's not going to be lunch to, you know, maybe give them a different duty and still be able to give them the support to work. I don't think that should be put upon the teachers, and I feel very sorry that that's, you know, another concern of theirs, that they can't incorporate all of that into a school day. And lastly, you know, maybe there's a way where teachers can have the opportunity, if they are immunocompromised or have students, children that are immunocompromised or any health concerns, that they maybe be given the choice to choose completely remotely. And there are some people that always have medical conditions that prohibit them from doing their job in the same capacity as somebody else would. I'm gonna be quiet because I probably already hit my limit. So thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you, Madam President.
At this time, we're going to ask for board comments. I'm sure everybody has comments, so we're going to start with this and work going around. Mr. Schmitz, do you have any comments at this time?
I have a brief statement. I'd like to thank the administration and staff for all the time and effort you put into creating this plan. I know it's taken an extraordinary amount of time and energy. Hopefully you can hear me through the mask. I would also like to thank my fellow board members. I do not want to speak on behalf of all of you, but like me, I'm sure you've experienced many sleepless nights, researching and reading any and all information available to help us make what we feel is in the best decision possible for the children of Voorhees. In my 34 years as a board member, this is simply the most difficult decision I've ever had to make. I feel the weight of COVID-19 on a personal level every day. As both my wife and daughter head out to work at a children's hospital. This has allowed me to see things firsthand and do my own research and soul searching. Tonight, I will be voting yes for the hybrid plan. I feel that this plan offers the parents and children of Voorhees a choice, and I'm confident that the administration has made the safety and well-being of the children and staff a priority. Thank you.
Ms. Watson?
First, I want to say, if Gabe Rubio and Alexander Kaufman aren't proof of the excellence of Voorhees education, I don't really know what is. Before I delve into my full prepared remarks, I want to address two issues. First, our working session on August 13th. We live in a time of gross social injustice, but we also live in a time of awakening, forgiveness, and growth. I took this board seat to lend a voice to our community, to speak up for those who could not. At our last meeting, I failed, and I am deeply sorry to all of you. Countless parents and community members thought it was appropriate to defame, demoralize, and disrespect our educators because they raised concerns about returning to school in person for in-person instruction on September 8th. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. And shame on this board for staying silent and letting it happen. Every person is entitled to their opinion. What you are not entitled to is bullying and belittling others because they view an issue differently. I want to thank the countless educators that have shared personal stories, family pictures, fears, concerns, joys, and hopes with the board. Please know that you are all deeply appreciated and valued, and I personally promise to be better and role model speak up behavior when people are being unkind and uncivil. Second, at the August 13th meeting, I spent over 45 minutes asking a host of questions, many of which to date have not been answered or have been unsatisfactorily answered. I expected to have received a revised reopening plan to review. However, instead, the plan was submitted to the county superintendent for consideration despite my objections to do so. The board has received only one relevant communication since the last board meeting, a list of the PPE received. Interestingly, the air purifiers, thermal scanners, and UV lighting system were not listed, nor have we received an update related to these items until this evening. Several AC systems in multiple schools are currently not functioning properly, and touchless faucets have yet to be installed in all of the bathrooms. Anyone on social media knows that the air ventilation is a very serious concern. That is not to say that Clark and his team are not doing a great job. I say all this to again emphasize that I do not support this plan simply for the fact that we are not ready and our schools are not safe as they need to, as safe as they need to be to protect our children and staff. Please understand that my position is not inconsistent with also wanting children back in school. Please also understand that our teachers want to teach and they are excited and prepared to teach. That has never been in question. That said, we all want school to be as safe as possible, not minimally safe, which brings me to my final topic. Less than a week after Mississippi Elementary School in Lauderdale County opened its doors for the new school year, district officials closed the school after a COVID-19 outbreak occurred. Mississippi State official Officer Dr. Thomas Dobbs said, quote, "It's impossible to imagine that we are not going to pay the price for cramming kids into schools right now. There's just no plausible scenario where it's not going to be bad," end quote. More than 70 school districts across New Jersey have announced plans for students to start the upcoming year with all remote learning instead of in-person classroom instruction. Schools across the country are beginning to reopen for in-person classes, which means students and teachers are going to get sick with COVID-19. No one knows how badly opening school doors will propel the pandemic or how many kids and teachers will be infected, hospitalized, and die. But looking at these early openers can give us a sense of what's to come. So let's take a look. Florida, Samoset Elementary, one employee during reopening has COVID. Georgia, Cherokee County School, one middle school student, 2 elementary school students, and 1 kindergarten teacher. Dean Rusk Middle School, 1 confirmed student. Gwinnett County Public School, 260 teachers positive or potentially exposed. Hasty Elementary Fine Arts Academy, 1 confirmed student. North Paulding High School, 6 confirmed students and 3 staff. Mission Road Elementary, 4 staff members during reopening prep. Marietta City Schools, 5 confirmed and 1 presumptive staff member during reopening prep. Harlem High School, 1 confirmed student. Chattanooga High School, 2 students after reopening. Moore Elementary School, 1 faculty member in kindergarten classes in quarantine. Sixes Elementary School, 1 student after reopening. Ball Ground ES STEM Academy, 1 confirmed staff. Creekland Middle, 1 confirmed staff. Creekview High, 2 confirmed staff. Mill Creek Middle, 1 confirmed staff. Woodstock Elementary, 1 confirmed staff. Indianola Elementary, 1 confirmed staff. Illinois, Lake Zurich High School, 36 students traced back to the school's summer sports game. Indiana, Elwood Junior High School, 1 teacher during reopening. Greenfield Central High School, 1 student. Brownsburg High School, 1 student. Avon High School, 1 student and 1 employee. New Palestine High School, 1 football player and 1 student. Edinburgh High School, 1 student. Warren Central High School, 1 football player. Indian Creek, 1 football player. Beach Group High School, 1 person connected to football. Fishers High School, 1 football player. Lanesville Junior Senior High School, 4 students after reopening. Greater Clark County Schools, 2 students after reopening. 1 administrator after reopening. Jefferson Parish in Louisiana, handful of teachers after reopening. Mississippi, Corinth School, 5 students, 1 middle school student, 1 elementary school employee. New York, Shaker High School, 1 employee at the school's extended school year program. North Carolina, 1 elementary school student. Asheville City School, 2 middle school, 2 high school. Shippensburg High School, Pennsylvania, 1 football player. Tennessee, Alcoa City Schools, 3 high school students, 1 middle school student, and 1 elementary school student. Mason High School, 1 football coach. And Virginia, Shirley High Middle School, an unspecified number of staff during reopening. There have been more than 600 COVID-19 cases since July, and it's not even September. There have also been deaths of more than 25 school employees and students due to suspected or confirmed COVID-19 across the United States. So humor me for a second and close your eyes and picture your child on that list. Picture one of our Voorhees educators on that list. And I ask you, what is the price you are willing to pay? We have an opportunity to be prudent, to learn from others' mistakes, and to take a moment to do what is in the best interest of our district. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be the next school district on that list. We should be educating our students, not making them headlines. Thank you.
Mrs. Van Auken, do you have a statement?
I do, thank you. And I apologize. I'm going to keep my video off because the Wi-Fi is not fabulous here. So I apologize for my absence today, but thank you to Bruce and his team that we've been able to ensure my active participation from a distance. I want to thank the community for all of your interest and active engagement during this very challenging time. But really who I want to address this evening are our Voorhees teachers. Teachers, your passion and your persistence, especially over the last month, has been awe-inspiring. I know this is incredibly hard on you. From working your tails off to be a fantastic teacher and caring for our kids, and then to not get the respect you deserve. This must feel like a battle you never asked for. Members of our community attacked your integrity as a teacher during our last meeting, and you didn't deserve that. You deserve better, and you deserve better from me as a board member to stand up and stop the hateful words that were being thrown at you, and I am sorry. However, our vote goes today. I am really deeply concerned about the future level of trust that our community, our teachers and staff have for us as a board, and particularly in our administration. The lack of communication and delay in preparing for this is embarrassing. Having said that, I want to applaud this community, our parents, our business owners, our teachers and our staff, and for everyone who has been such an active participant in this process. And my ask for you is, please, I encourage you to continue to be involved, not just when big issues arise. Attend our meetings, continue to ask questions, tell us what you think, and please, please, please continue to push us to make the right decisions for you and your family. I stand by my words from the last time we met. I still do not believe we are ready to open safely, and it is evident that we have not provided the proper professional development for our teachers. And this is why I will be voting no this evening. Thank you.
Mrs. Levy, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I have read all the comments that were sent to me over my board email address, as well as the restart plan, the CDC guidelines, and I also reviewed the video from last meeting since I was not able to attend. My main concern in reviewing the restart and recovery plan is that the plan we approve must consider the physical, emotional, and the mental health of all of our students, including those who are in self-contained classes, have IEPs, 504s, and are in the traditional classroom. For this reason, I believe it's in the best interest of our community members for us to give parents the option of choosing hybrid, partial face-to-face, or fully online. Yes, the impact of COVID on long-term physical health is unknown. However, the lifelong impact of inadequately addressing developmental delays and necessary behavioral modifications is quite known and quite serious. This must be the parent's choice. However, and I will say that again, however, I trust that the superintendent will move fully remote if the remaining supplies of PPE do not arrive in time. I'm also requesting at this meeting that before the end of this meeting, he provides us with a date and time that information and all of the answers to the questions that were asked today will be provided online to the parents and the community members of this district. Finally, I'd like to state that I do not in any way believe that teachers who wish to teach online, I can't even say this without getting upset, are asking for a vacation or in some way looking for a vacation by that request. Teachers have the right, as every other individual does, to take care of their own children and their health during this time, and the district better take care of those issues and those teachers and all of their requests. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Mrs. Galliano.
Good evening, fellow board members, Dr. Gentile, parents, and staff. Let me start by saying this is one of the hardest decisions I've had to make in my lifetime. I was elected to be on the Board of Education to serve the goodwill of the students, parents, and the staff of Voorhees. I have reviewed the plan that has been continually updated and fluid throughout this process. I believe that we have done all that we were asked to do, from the governor to the CDC to the New Jersey Department of Education. I also know that the BTEA has also been actively involved in working alongside the administration while creating this plan. No one has been left in the dark, and training has been offered and will continue. The plan we offered our families allows one to choose what is best for their family. In this situation, we are not going to have one-size-fits-all box. Therefore, no matter what, we cannot appease everyone. When you choose a profession, you never know what may come upon you. During this time, we had essential frontline workers working, from grocery store employees, drugstore employees, doctors, nurses, police officers, post office workers, FedEx workers, I could go on and on. Daycare providers, all working to ensure that we have food, protection, care. They have been exposed to thousands of people. It is now time for the teachers to see that you are essential workers too, essential to our children's learning and mental well-being. We need you to come forth and show that you are essential to our children who desperately want to be back with you and see some such sort of normalcy. It is pertinent more than now that we let no more time pass and we let our children return to the classroom setting if the parents choose to do so. It is for this reason that I am voting yes to the hybrid plan for our school year to start.
First off, I'd like to thank the administration as well as the Voorhees Teachers Association for working together and putting a plan together that we submitted to the county. I said it last time at the last meeting. I still believe that this is a good plan. I have two daughters in the healthcare industry that go to work every day with much less protection than what we are going to supply to the teachers. I think that we've done a really good job of reading all the reports that are out there from the CDC, as well as reading the reports from the state, and the plan reflects all of that. And when I'm taking, this is a very difficult decision, and it was not something that I took very lightly. But when I come up to a decision like this, I have to ask myself, what is going to change between now and a month from now or 2 months from now? And for me, the answer is I don't think much is going to change. We're still going to be wearing masks. We're still going to have plexiglass dividers. We're still going to be worrying about children taking the mask off. All of those concerns are still going to exist. And there are some things that we're just not going to know until we actually do it. What's going to happen when everybody gets off the buses, when they're going to get their temperatures taken. Same thing with, I'm not sure we can actually train for, doing the dual teaching between students at home and students in the classroom. I think having an early dismissal will give the teachers some time in the afternoon to reflect on what's happened in the mornings while they've been in class, and adapt and change so that each day that goes by, they'll get better using the technology. You're not going to know until you have 15 faces on the screen, 15 faces, 10 faces in the classroom, or whatever the range is. You're really not going to know, in my opinion, how that's going to work until you're actually in there. And so having an early dismissal, I think, will give you time to reflect on that and adjust each day. So I'm going to vote yes for it because I think it's a good plan. I think we provide for the safety of the teachers as well as the students. I think it's important that we get the students back in the classroom. And I agree with what Marissa said. If it comes to the conclusion that we're not ready, but I believe the administration has said we will be ready, well, then maybe there'll be a different decision. But at this point in time, I've been told we'll be ready for the opening day, and my vote will be yes.
Mr. Carter.
First, I want to start off, I want to thank the teachers. There's no doubt in my mind that you clearly have a strong passion for teaching the kids of Voorhees. I know this firsthand. I had two daughters that went through the school system. And I'm very proud of the school system, and I came on the board to continue the growth of the system. I'm echoing what everyone else has said, this is a very difficult decision for me. Each day it weighs on me, and I try to come up with what's the best solution for everyone. And the only thing that I have come up with a definite answer to is that there is no great solution for everyone. We have to make the best possible decision and move forward and adjust accordingly as we go. I heard people say we have police officers on the front line. You know, they took a job that says protect and serve. And whether it's a snowstorm, a flood, or a COVID-19 pandemic, they go out and serve. They go out with a lot less protective gear than we're providing our staff. Doctors and nurses, they chose their profession to protect and help people. Not always the greatest working conditions, but yet every morning or evening, whatever their shift is, they go, and irregardless of
Oh, great.
irregardless of the position they're putting themselves in or the risks they're facing, they go out and take care of the sick people. Our teachers, they are essential personnel. They're essential in so many ways to us, not just in educating our children, but in our children's mental, social well-being. Like I said, there is no perfect answer, but I sit back and I wonder, all of us in this room, out on the Zoom call, are we all just sitting home and doing nothing? Or are we going out, getting our hair done? All right, maybe not me, but are we going out getting our hair done? Are we going to the supermarkets? Are we going for bike rides with our kids? You know, we're still exposing ourselves. We're still bringing, if we catch something, we're bringing that home. But what do? We take the best precautions we can when we go out. I've asked a lot of questions of the administration about the ventilation system. I've been assured that we do correct things that come up. You know, I can say one thing for Clark and his group. If they hear about something that's wrong in one of the classrooms or an area of the school, there's no doubt in my mind that they don't push it off and say, I'll get to it when I can. They address it immediately and take care of it. As it was stated here earlier, I wasn't particularly happy with this plan going to the county before I had a chance to vote on it. But at the last meeting, your representative, Tony, said, I worked with the superintendent and the administration to work on this plan of back to school and to help develop it. He's the one that laid my concerns at ease. So after hearing everything tonight, I'd like to say to every parent that is listening, please ask questions of the administration. And once you get all of your answers, then make your personal decision on what's best for your child or children. You know, I believe our community is divided. I believe someone fully remote, someone probably going back 5 days. I also firmly believe that I should not be making a decision for what's best for each one of your individual families. That's something that you should do for your family based on your personal circumstances. So that is what I've weighed into my mind in making my decision this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I have listened and truly heard all of the concerns of our teachers and our parents. I have so much respect for our teachers. I have 4 children. One's out of school, 3 are still in the school system. And I truly listened. And I have a large family of my own and have my own concerns. But it is a fact that virtual learning is truly not as effective for most students. We are a high-performing district, and full remote will be detrimental to some of our students. However, we are offering a virtual learning model to parents who are not ready to send their children back to school. Our administrative and maintenance staff have been working double time to make our schools safe. They have met and or exceeded all of the Department of Education, Department of Health, and CDC guidelines and requirements to return to school as safely as possible. Even the addition of the state-of-the-art UV germ-fighting lighting, which many schools in the area do not have access to. Throughout the summer, we have been offering training to any of our teachers who are unsure or in need of additional instruction with regard to the remote learning tools we have. Many teachers have taken advantage of this training. Our administration has worked closely with the BTEA in coming up with a safe way to get our students and teachers back into the classroom. On Monday, Governor Murphy announced that the state's community transmission data indicates that all of the state's regions are safe for reopening schools. In fact, 2/3 of the districts in New Jersey are opening with a hybrid model. We currently have children playing contact sports in our township with no mask or PPE. I feel our children and our teachers will be safer and more protected with what the administration has come up with in their plan than anywhere else. And I will support the hybrid model with parent choice. Thank you. At this time, Ms. Levy, could you take transportation numbers 1 through 9?
Dawn, I'm sorry, I have one more question before we move on to the other business.
This is only supposed to be board comments, not questions.
Well, then I will make it as a comment. I don't know if this is even possible, but I would like to propose a motion to table item 1 under new business, because I don't think I'll have an opportunity before we get there, but us to consider an alternate plan that enables our special needs students to get 5 days of in-person instruction by the staff that's willing and capable to provide instruction to this vulnerable population, because I agree with a lot of the comments that have been said, but to that end would offer full remote instruction for the remainder of the student population until we can develop a plan that's more safe for the rest of the student body, and not a minimum requirement, but something above the minimum requirement, because Voorhees has never been mediocre, and I don't think that we should start now. So I don't know if that's an appropriate thing or not appropriate thing, but
that's a separate issue.
You could make a motion to table a given motion at an appropriate time, but right now we're considering transportation, but your comments were appropriate. So we're about to vote on policy, so that might be where you would make a motion to table, you were so inclined.
Wouldn't you wait until we get to new business?
No, but it's new
Yes.
business, it's not policy.
okay, fine,
Transportation is what's on the agenda right now.
okay.
Ms. Levy, could you take transportation items number 1 through 9, please?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to move numbers 1 through 9 under transportation.
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmooze?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. Under policy, can I get a motion to approve the following policy for the second reading and final approval, 1648 Families First Coronavirus Response Act?
I'll move that.
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmooze?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve policy 1648.02 in response to emergency circumstances in accordance with district policy 0131? Said policy 1648.02 shall terminate at the next meeting of the board unless further action is taken by the board at or before that meeting.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
We have to, this is policy.
No, I understand.
Sure.
I just don't understand what you're asking.
Sure, what you're doing today is you have the right to approve a policy without a second reading tonight. essentially tonight, provided you take action at the next meeting with regard to that policy. So the board is speaking to, there's an emergency, they're finding an emergency, obviously the COVID virus reopening, and they're approving a policy tonight subject to potential revision or affirming later at the next board meeting.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Sure, absolutely, me, absolutely.
Okay, so then explain to me the difference between, we had the first reading tonight and we wait to have a second reading.
Because
and
we
then it gets
can't.
approved.
There-
No, wait a minute.
It's
No,
all already
wait a minute, but then it gets approved at the second reading. But if we approve it tonight, contingent upon the second reading or approval, whatever you said, isn't that the same thing?
No. All we're doing tonight, all we can do, we have the power to do tonight, is to use our emergency ability to approve this policy faster than we would otherwise approve a
But it's
policy.
still depending on the next, us approving the second reading.
Theoretically, yes, it may happen, it may not. But all we can do tonight is speak to the emergency, utilize our policy that we have in place to effectuate the policy of the new school opening before the next board meeting.
And it's for the remote learning option, which we're
I'm
going
sorry,
to.
maybe I'm just being dense. I mean, I'm
No,
sorry.
because you're not entirely wrong. It may turn out that we go to the next meeting.
Hypothetically, next meeting, we all say unanimously no to it. But yet we instituted it now. So what happens?
Exactly. You
So what
still
happens?
have the right at the next meeting to decide to make that a permanent policy.
And if we don't, then what happens?
Then the board can modify, they can do anything they want to do at the next meeting. Between now and the next meeting, this board policy remains in place unless and until modified by the board.
Which is true of all policies.
Right, so all we're doing is expediting the approval in light of the timing.
It's because it needs to be voted on before the school year can start. That's the reason we're doing it right now.
If we approve this policy, that means we can give the option of remote learning to the parents.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's what this is doing.
If we don't approve it tonight, we don't have a policy to do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
That was a way better way to put the emergent aspect of this application, yeah.
I wasn't trying to give it a hard time, I just didn't
But that's
understand.
that's all we're doing is saying for now, we're putting this in place.
We're allowing the parents to have a choice,
Yes,
okay, which we can still change later on if we choose to, but right now, we're giving them the choice.
it's right now, 2 and 3 give them the choice, yes.
Okay.
So can I have a motion to move number 2 under policy?
I'll make a motion to move number 2 under
Did I
policy.
interrupt you? You-
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmoots?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yeah.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. The next is, could I have a motion to approve policy 1648.03 in response to emergency circumstances in accordance with district policy 0131? Said policy 1648.03 shall terminate at the next meeting of the board unless further action is taken by the board at or before that meeting. And this is 1648.03 is the restart and recovery plan, full-time remote instruction.
I'll second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmoots?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. Mr. Nelson, would you take?
Personnel.
What number is that? Okay. Could you take personnel numbers 1 through 21, but please note 16A, the name should read Colleen Carroll.
I'd like to make a motion to approve items 1 through 21 on the agenda with a modification to 16A to read Halloween Carol.
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
I will approve items 2 through 21. I will not approve item number 1. I'm not going to have any of our teachers employed without a background check.
Park?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. There is no deferred action. Mr. Schmus, would you take new business items 1 through 8, please?
I would like to make a motion to approve items 1 through 8 under new business.
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi isn't great. So it was for new business 1 through 8? No. On 1, approve the rest.
Mrs. Watson?
2.
I'm sorry?
Nothing. Go on.
Mrs. Watson?
No on 1, yes to 2 through 8.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Our next meeting date will be September 23rd, 7:30 at the Administrative Building. At this time, we have audience participation. The board is limited in its ability to respond in public on the following matters: personnel, litigation, negotiations, attorney-client privilege. Again, each person only has 3 minutes, and please note this is not a question and answer session.
Okay, Janine Martin.
Hello again, Janine Martin, 14 Redstone Ridge. Super quick, I think the board is missing the point. The administration has done nothing to prepare our teachers. There have been no mock classes, no rooms are completely set up for the teachers to try and make teaching kids in class while also at home even possible. There is nothing wrong with a hybrid plan. I know our teachers want to come to work. I know parents want to send their kids into school. I would love to send my son to school. But it's decisions that have been made and the lack of preparedness for the last 150 plus days that is what you are missing. Our teachers are not prepared because our administration has not prepared them. There is not one classroom that I know of that is set up for our teachers to have even tried to teach remotely and with with people in class. Has any teacher walked the schedule? Has any teacher tried? No, none of the teachers I've talked to have said that they have been able to do that. So I think the board is missing the point. Our administration has done nothing to prepare to make sure our kids will be taught at home and in the classroom at the same time. It hasn't been tried, it hasn't been tested, and that is the problem. That's why the teachers want more time. It's not that they don't want to work. It's not that they want to sit around and get their hands on. They want to come to work, but they want to come to work and they want to teach our children well. And the administration has not set them up for success. Thank you.
Joyce Lorella.
Hi, good evening again. So if I'm to understand correctly, we just said it was okay to not have a background check. Most members voted yes, to not have a background check for people before they're admitted to the schools. What? That's 1. 2, has any board member walked through the schools to see what has actually been installed and was actually in place for us to be there in 5 days with
the children of this school district. I don't think you have. I would invite every one of you, including the superintendent and any other administrator that would like to be there, into my classroom for the full day, for the full week, next week or the following week when the kids attend. I would love for you to be there and see how things go down, because it is not ready. And I'm more than willing to work, but we need time to prepare. That is all we need. Thank you.
Gabe Rubeo.
Hello, everyone. It's me again, and I just want to make some comments about before the board started voting. I just wanted to make some comments on that. What happened before the chats were disabled? So some of us have been talking about how private and charter schools are handling the situation better during the pandemic. To those people, please be reminded that none of us expected this situation to happen. Also, public schools have greater student populations than other types of schools, so tougher measures must be taken to ensure all of the students and staff's safety. For us, this means a full remote schooling plan. Besides, as I mentioned before, Voorhees has absolutely amazing staff that I am honored to have had as my teachers. I know that they have the students' well-being as their first priority, and their views must be listened to. Even though some people's feelings are hurt because we're just trying to look out for the greater good first, just remember that this is a temporary situation. The sooner we enact a remote learning plan, the sooner we can move past this tumultuous time and all go back to school in a manner that we know is absolutely safe for everyone in Voorhees' schools. Again, this is directed at some comments that were made during the audience speeches.
Danielle Riggs.
Hi, I'm Danielle Riggs. I am a teacher at Signal Hill School. I live at 6 Cedar Croft Road. I live in Gibbsboro, a town that just went all remote following Eastern's lead. I have taught special education in Signal Hill. It is my second home. Before anything, I was a teacher. I am used to administration, always being in my building, seeing my program, knowing what I do on a daily basis. For the last 2 weeks, 8 out of 10 teachers in my hallway have been in that school. We are all doing the same thing, trying to figure out how we're going to do this. When we ask questions, we are told, I don't know, you will make it work. And that is true. I am proud to be a union member, but not because I don't want to work, because my union supports me. And yes, we have been offered trainings, but they are not trainings on hybrid learning. They are trainings on how to make interactive worksheets and how to do all this fun stuff that we already do. We are supporters, cheerleaders, nurturers, motivators. We don't just stand and deliver instruction. I'm appalled that people think all we do is go in and stand and teach. That is not Voorhees. We rise above, we set the bar high. We are there for our students, and to think that we just stand there and teach is ridiculous. We are not ready to go. Clark, I want to say to you personally that Joey Quintana and our staff is amazing. What they have to do on a normal summer is overwhelming, and they rise and they do it. But putting all this other stuff on top of it, they are doing it. Jamie Patullo, our tech specialist, Bruce Taylor, you guys are amazing. You are our leadership. You are there for us. In addition to doing all the work to get the iPads ready, Jamie goes home and still puts stuff on her Google Classroom for staff to do more professional development. I'm not telling you I don't want to go back to work. I have been there. I have been up at 5 o'clock every morning trying to figure out how to do this. I talk to my friends. We have a group text. We are working. It's not that we don't want to do this, but we are not ready as a staff. Your kids are not safe. And for those of you who have not stepped foot in a building, I strongly suggest you do so.
Brooke Yarnell.
I just want to talk about the simulation to a grocery store worker, a doctor, and a nurse. I value all of the essential workers and all of the people that have gone into buildings and have worked in person. But many of you, even sitting on the board, are working remotely. Many people are telecommuting because our superintendent, our county superintendent's offices are all working remotely from home. Why is that? Because the buildings aren't safe for us all to be in the buildings together. And the comparison to a hospital worker, they work in a hospital. They have MERV ratings of 17 and HEPA filters. We don't have that. We are not a hospital. We're being asked to be run like a hospital. We're not a hospital. I've worked in a hospital, okay? There's protocols and procedures, safety protocols and procedures that are laid out from minute one to the end of the day. You have to document everything so that your rear end is covered, excuse my French. We don't have protocols and procedures. The special ed department has created our own committee because we saw in July that our questions weren't being answered. And the best answers that we could come up with when we asked for protocols and procedures, because we desperately needed them and we knew what we were going to be coming into in September, the answers to any of those questions were, try the best you can. And I understand our administration doesn't have those answers. Nobody does. But to tell me, a professional with a master's degree, just try the best you can, that's not an answer. I'm going to put my kids and my students and myself and my colleagues in harm's way because I just have to try the best I can. That's not an answer to me. There's hundreds of questions on a document that our union is putting together that we have no answers to. None. Hundreds of questions. So when you think that this is the best possible plan and you think that we're ready and we're safe and we're prepared, why do we have 100 questions that are not answered? It doesn't make sense to me. And in terms of training, the training for the technology, wonderful. How about safety training? How about universal precautions training? How about our nurses and we have epidemiologists and doctors come in and train us? Because if we're gonna run like a hospital, we need to be trained as such. Forget technology training, safety training. You want your kids in the schools? Train us to teach them safely. Thank you.
Chrysola Coco.
Hi, thank you. Just one last quick thing. I appreciate you all taking the time again to listen. You know, I think it's very divided, obviously, from all the things we've been hearing, and we all have different points of view. I think the emotional impacts piece definitely needs to be considered more at an in-person state. Virtually, it can't be met, in my personal opinion, and just speaking with other professionals. And I think that's something that I hope that the board will consider, whether we do go all remote or we do go some in-class instruction, that some of these students that do need that one-on-one, whether it's teaching or just counseling, will be given that opportunity in some way, shape, or form. Thanks for your time.
At this time, do you have any board comments?
Any board comments? I'm not sure if this is not the appropriate time, but instead of, I'd like to make a motion now for us to consider an alternate plan that enables our special needs students to have 5 days of in-person instruction by staff that is willing and capable of providing education to this vulnerable population. To that end, I would also offer full remote instruction for the remainder of the student population until we can develop a plan that provides for the safety of our students and staff at an above minimum requirement.
With that, Diane, don't we have a full day plan for special needs?
It depends on their
individual. Right.
Yeah.
But nobody's in school 5 days right now.
There's nobody 5 days. It could be 4. Everybody's Wednesdays off.
But we already voted on the hybrid model, so that part we can't take.
So this would allow our special needs students, if I understand this correctly, to have 5 days of in-person instruction.
But it would,
with no other students in
yeah, it would come at the
class.
cost of other students, that's what she's proposing.
Yes.
Okay, that's a motion.
Correct.
That's not on the agenda. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Second.
You have the opportunity to give these special needs students 5 days of personal instruction.
But you do realize, I believe, again, I just don't want to speak, out of turn, Ms. Watson. I believe what she's saying is amend the plan from the current hybrid. Eliminate the choice for parents as it is, and it would just focus on the special education population only and have every other student go full remote, whether they wanted it or not.
Correct.
I believe she still deserves a second on it. I don't necessarily agree with that part of it, but I will still second that.
Okay. Second, the board can consider it and vote on it.
So that would get rid of our hybrid.
It would be undoing the plan that was just.
It would be undoing the vote starting.
It's unusual, but.
And it doesn't matter that it was voted on, so this is this.
Well, it does. It would be, the board could reverse its decision it made moments ago, but the motion's been second. So, take a vote.
I'm seconding that out of respect for Monica and her view.
Yeah.
Ms. Galliano?
No.
Dr. Levy?
No.
Mr. Nelson?
No.
Mr. Schmoots?
No.
Of course not.
Ms. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Carp?
I just want to say before I vote that I did like the idea of the special needs being included with more in-person days, but outside of changing our plan, so therefore I'll vote no.
Mrs. Wallace?
As we are giving some special needs who need it 4 days in school, and I do believe that the parents need the choice or deserve the choice, I'm voting no.
Motion does not pass. 6 no, 2 yes.
Any other board comments?
Yes. Dr. Gentile, can you let us know a date for which you'll have answers to the questions that were raised today? And will they be able to be publicly posted for the community to see the answers to those questions?
So on some of the questions, there already are answers being posted online. Air quality results are going up as we get them. Every year this time, we test the school's air quality by an independent consultant. They've been updated. The PPE and all of the items that have been ordered, we have that. We're going to make that also on the website so everyone can see what we ordered, what we have, and what we're still waiting on. At this time, the only things that we're still waiting on are the final schools getting their HVAC UV lighting installed, but we have the equipment, and that's being done as we speak. That'll be done this week, I would guess. I would also say that the other item that we're still waiting for would be the installation of the permanent UV sanitation system. But again, we have mobile units that are being shipped to us that we'll be able to utilize in place of that. So we will have those in place.
I think the questions that the community are asking, especially the teachers who are speaking the majority of the time today, is really about the day-to-day operations, how it works for them. And I think an FAQ that's publicly available so that they understand what a typical day looks like would help tremendously, especially the teachers who are asking, for example, Ms. Gunko, who said, well, I have to clean between my classes. I think that will go a long way to make teachers understand that their comfort and their safety is being considered.
Correct. And all of those will be answered before we expect anybody to step into the classroom.
I would like a list if you could. I'm not trying to put Clark on the hot seat here, but if there were things that were reported from individual classrooms that we did not, and I'm not saying there aren't, but it sounds like there was a lot of concerns from the teachers this evening about things that were reported and not done.
I apologize for interrupting, but you know, I looked into the last meeting we had where there was a report where a classroom had allegedly had moisture and a moisture problem that was reported allegedly and then not looked into as if we didn't mitigate those kinds of issues. And upon investigation, there was no report. Not to the principal, not to Clark, not to our school duty reporting system. I mean, if a problem comes up in any of our schools and it's reported, we will mitigate. We will get in there, we will work on it. We will make sure that it's safe. We don't want to put anybody in a position that.
And I wasn't stating that it was. I was just saying, if there is, I would just like to know.
Okay.
And an answer of there are none is an answer also.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I have another, I mean, to that point, I mean, I'm respectfully, I disagree whether it was reported or not. I'm not gonna speak out against our teachers. If our teachers say that they reported it, I'm going to say that they reported it. Regardless, if there's a leak in a classroom, it needs to be fixed. If there's air conditioning units that aren't working.
But he doesn't know that.
But there aren't any.
I was at, my daughter had kindergarten orientation today. The air conditioning was not working in Signal Hill, period. I was there today. So I don't know what information you're getting, but I've had lots of reports from lots of teachers say that air conditioning is not working. That is a ventilation problem.
I would agree if that was the case, but I'm from my own investigation and what I'm getting from my director of maintenance, that's not accurate. So I will again look into it and try to verify what you're saying. If there's an issue, we want to resolve it. We absolutely do not want to put someone in a situation where the HVAC is not functioning properly.
I'm going to speak up because there is a lot of misinformation about the HVAC requirements. And just so we're clear, we have to comply with the New Jersey Department of Education's requirements. And those requirements are clear. The HVAC system has to be according to manufacturer recommendations. That's the language. We're better than manufacturer recommendations. But my point is the standard that's being imposed by the DOE, Department of Education, is not what's being bandied about in the public. Our obligation is to comply with the law. Our MERV ratings are appropriate. We are in compliance with the law. And I want to assure everybody who's concerned about that, that this administration will take immediate action if and when there's ever a concern about air quality in any of our buildings. But right now, what the DOE says is, you must have ensured that recirculated air has a fresh air component, opening windows if AC is not provided, and maintaining filters for AC units according to manufacturer recommendations. Now, you know, people could still get sick in any circumstance, but our problem is we have to comply with the law and we have to give parents choices. Because in any circumstance that we choose here, a parent could be aggrieved on not getting equal education, special needs, all these other concerns that we've heard about. So I just want to assure everybody the HVAC components are consistent with manufacturer recommendations and safe to the children that are in the building and the teachers.
Okay, Mr. Schmuse, can you take finance numbers 1 through 8, please?
Certainly. I would like to move items 1 through 8 under finance.
Second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmuse?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. At this time, I'd like a motion to approve adjourning to executive session, please.
Second.
Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, the public shall be excluded from that portion of the meeting involving discussion of personnel. Further resolved that the discussion of such matter in executive session can be disclosed to the public at such time as the board takes formal action. We will be adjourning to executive session and will be returning.
Yes, let's make a motion when we come out.
Okay.
Taking action.
What is it?
Oh, we were going to,
Back in session. Could I get a motion to approve the resolution subject to confidentiality?
I'll second.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
She wasn't in the session.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes. This time, could we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who are you just talking?
Thank you, Gabe, for what you said today. It was beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm glad I could speak out.
It was absolutely amazing.
We are very proud of you.